my own space station. Hey, fanfic family. So glad to see you here again to continue this incredible adventure. As always, kindly remember, this story is 100% fiction, so don't go looking for dimensional portals in your closet. All rights to this fantastic novel belong to the original author. We're just your humble narrators of epic tales. Are you enjoying the fanfic? Show it by subscribing to our YouTube channel and dropping us a like. And if you're impatient for more exclusive content, our Patreon is your happy place. Chapter 626 Familiar Faces. His instructions to Elder Qin were intended to confine him to Lochner. Meanwhile, after arranging things for his wife, Zhang Yuankui led the remaining 25 Special Operations Team members from Bato City towards Mato Da. Their mission was to escort the leader of the Moni sect back to Bato City, but there was also a secret mission during this process, to release the Queen Bee when passing by the Golden City. The reason for carrying out this secret mission was that the underground base and the Golden City had also lost contact. The person in charge there was Ling Luo, who shouldn't have lost contact under normal circumstances. The next day, Shen Wengang led the Bluebird Special Operations Team to escort Elder Qin to Lochner. However, Dongfang Chen stipulated that only Elder Qin could enter alone, so, after dropping off Elder Qin, Shen Wengang led the Special Operations Team back to Kyoto. He had another mission, to release Queen Bees to various bases one after another. Regardless of the purpose of those controlling these bases, he had to keep the risks within a controllable range. He didn't plan to immediately recover these bases. After all, even if they were recovered, they would think of other sabotage plans. It was better to let them think that everything was under control. In this way, the enemy would be right under his nose. Little Chen, I've arrived. Can you tell me now? After arriving at the Lochner transit base, Elder Qin immediately contacted Dongfang Chen. You may. Dongfang Chen replied, once you entered this base, it was impossible to leave, so, even if Elder Qin had a problem, telling him was irrelevant. This matter is a bit unbelievable. Immediately, Dongfang Chen roughly explained what happened 1 billion years ago. He focused on explaining how the serious survivors used viruses to implant additional DNA fragments into the human body, leading to mutual slaughter among humans. Are you saying that everyone in China has a problem? Elder Qin was a little surprised. Theoretically, that's right. Everyone carries this additional DNA fragment, so naturally everyone is a potential Moni person. The reason why I am only telling you now is because this news must not be revealed. Once the serious survivors learn that we have discovered their existence, there is a high possibility of uncontrollable consequences. Dongfang Chen replied, I was still fantasizing about clearing these black sheep from China's official team. It seems I was thinking too much. Elder Qin sighed, sounding very depressed. This news was too despairing. Everyone carries genes that can destroy themselves. How can this be solved? It can't be solved at all unless everyone is killed. The Moni people will always exist, but if everyone dies, what practical significance is there in solving this problem? Is the fate of mankind already doomed? Elder Qin muttered to himself in despair. You don't need to be so pessimistic. Since I asked you to come here, I naturally have a solution. Dongfang Chen comforted. Good. Tell me, what is the solution? Elder Qin asked excitedly, seemingly seeing hope. Perform gene repair on humans. Dongfang Chen replied. Gene repair? That's not very useful, is it? Even if it's repaired, we will be contaminated again, Elder Qin said. So, during this time, we must simultaneously start clearing out the serious survivors. Didn't you just say that the serious survivors may not only exist on the moon? If a single strike is unsuccessful, I'm afraid the consequences will be endless. Right, Elder Qin asked. That's inevitable. So, for safety's sake, for a very long time in the future, the repaired humans cannot leave the base. At the same time, the cleanup of the Moni people must be suspended. Only when they feel safe will we have enough time to plan, Dongfang Chen explained. Okay. Where do you plan to start? The Lochner underground base where you are located will be the first fully enclosed underground repair base. At the same time, I will also build such repair bases in several countries, including the Ulan Neutral Zone, the Russian Federation, Egila, and Maya, and relying on these bases, establish a new human joint organization, the Blue Star Future Federation. Okay, I support it. Elder Qin nodded in agreement without hesitation. There is one more thing you must always pay attention to. The news here must never be revealed. For safety's sake, the base's communication uses the highest level of supervision. You may have to let go of things in China. No matter what happens domestically, I hope you can look at it calmly, Dongfang Chen said bluntly. Don't worry, I know what's important. After finishing this conversation, the communication tunnel in the Golden City was also built. The underground base in the Golden City restored communication. It turned out that Ling Luo had been captured. Ling Luo, don't think that you can sit back and relax after joining Dongfang Chen. Now you have no other choice but to cooperate with me, a leading figure said slowly, standing in front of him. Is it him? Dongfang Chen saw a familiar face. Chapter 627, handing over control of the base. This person was the one he had always suspected was still alive. It was Mei Wenhua. You dog-like thing, are you worthy to speak to me? Ling Luo leaned against the corner, coughing blood as he replied, I have to say, you really have a good life. You were a holy son in the cult, with the best resources to support you. After betraying the Holy Church, you actually escaped from the pursuit alive several times. You became Dongfang Chen's lackey and even got such a good base. Tell me, why is the difference between people so great? Mei Wenhua said sourly. Ling Luo glanced at him and didn't say anything. Enough nonsense. Hand over the control of the base, and I can let you die with some dignity. Mei Wenhua didn't want to entangle any further. The Golden City underground base is different from other bases because Golden City doesn't belong to the administrative sequence of China. It's not within the unified management scope of the council, so the way to obtain permissions is different from other bases. Other bases are authorized by the Huituang Chamber of Commerce, but Golden City is directly authorized by Dongfang Chen. This difference led to Gu Qingye not having management permission, so although the base was shielded, without control, Mei Wenhua couldn't operate it. This scene brought many surprises to Dongfang Chen. Ling Luo is, after all, a cultist. Although he defected to him, coercion was a major factor. The worst possibility he thought of was Ling Luo turning against him, but now it seems that this guy still has some backbone. But there is another explanation. He has no choice. The Mani Church can no longer accept him. If he betrays Dongfang Chen and loses the base, then he will have nothing. Now it seems that this Ling Luo can still be used. Give him the control, and see what they want to do. Dongfang Chen sent a message through the digital eye. After receiving the message, Ling Luo couldn't believe his eyes. He didn't know when the base's communication had been restored. Mr. Dongfang, since communication has been restored, why hand over control? Ling Luo asked. If you don't give them a chance to perform, how will you know what they want to perform? Alright, the control can be given to you, but I want to leave here, Ling Luo said. Leave? Okay, you can. As long as you hand over control, I'll let you leave at any time, Mei Wenhua said mockingly. It was just an empty promise. He didn't care. I don't trust your words. Take me to the warship hangar and transfer it there, Ling Luo said. Mei Wenhua pondered for a moment and replied, okay, anyway, with 4 venerable envoys watching, he couldn't escape his grasp. The 6 of them finally arrived at the warship hangar after several elevator transfers. Many people saw them along the way, but no one came forward to stop them. Obviously, there were still many cultists here. Okay, can we do it now? Mei Wenhua asked. Next to them was an unlaunched warship. Yes, Ling Luo nodded. He issued an instruction through the digital eye, and soon a small robot ran over. After some operation, the robot spoke. Warning, you are now performing a dangerous operation. Once the authorization is transferred, you will lose control of the base. Do you want to continue? Ling Luo chose to continue. Please face the screen. Verifying identity. Identity verification passed. Please specify the authorization object. You come over here, Ling Luo said to Mei Wenhua. Mei Wenhua wasn't worried either and walked over gracefully, collecting information. Information collection completed. Authorization transfer successful. Mei Wenhua smiled knowingly when he heard the prompt. Can I leave now? Ling Luo also smiled. Mei Wenhua's smile was mocking him for being stupid. Ling Luo's smile was mocking him for laughing too early. Leave? Where to? You wouldn't naively think you still have the chance to leave, would you? Mei Wenhua asked with a smile. You wouldn't naively think I'm really naive, would you? Ling Luo wasn't surprised. What do you mean? Mei Wenhua's expression turned cold. He was carefully recalling whether he had overlooked anything, but after thinking about it, he didn't feel like there was anything wrong. Alright, you can think about it slowly. I won't keep you company. Ling Luo didn't say anything more and turned to leave gracefully. Capture him, Mei Wenhua ordered. A venerable envoy made a move. He stretched out his right hand, shaped like a tiger's claw under normal circumstances. Ling Luo would have been grabbed back directly, but now it was ineffective. Huh? The venerable envoy was greatly surprised. Mei Wenhua also frowned at this scene. Something's wrong. Where do you think you're going? The venerable envoy missed his strike and felt ashamed. He shouted and chased after him. He rushed forward and directly crashed into a protective shield. His outstretched arm was directly shattered, How is that possible? Mei Wenho was shocked. The base was clearly in his hands, so why did Ling Luo still have such methods? Chapter 628 Ling Luo takes over the Great Sun Kingdom. Oh, right. Take good care of the base. I'll come back for it later, Ling Luo added, turning her head, and then boarded the warship. Mei Wenho didn't have digital eye pupils. Even if he gained control, he could only operate the base by going to the control room. Now, Ling Luo could directly start the warship and open the base exit. This left Mei Wenho completely puzzled. This planted a seed of terror in his heart. If Ling Luo still had the authority to control the base, then this base wasn't as safe as he thought. It seemed he had to stay vigilant at all times. Mei Wenho was helpless about this. Even the envoy was helpless. He could only stare blankly. Ling Luo left Golden City without a place to settle down. This gave Dongfang Chen a bit of a headache. Hua country didn't have a place to accommodate him, and it was impossible to let him go to the Xiaolin neutral zone now. There were only two places to choose from: Takhili in Myanmar, Vietnam, or the Southeast Asia base of the Great Sun Country. Takhili had an underground base managed by Tangkun. The main force of the Great Sun Country was controlled in Motto, and the Southeast Asia base was completely empty. Where should he send him? Dongfang Chen pondered for a moment and decided to send him to the Southeast Asia base of the Great Sun Country. It would be good to organize that place as a forward position to guard against the Tasmanian Empire of Australia. After making the decision, he called the Great Priest of Maya. Great Priest of Maya, how are the warships of the Great Sun Country being handled now? Dongfang Chen asked. I'm preparing to dump them into the Atlantic Ocean, the Great Priest of Maya replied. How about this? Keep Pushan Xiaoyaozi and the fleet management team for now and escort them to Southeast Asia. There are still some things that need them over there, Dongfang Chen said. Understood. Okay, thank you, you're welcome. Currently, the fleet of the Maya United Empire and the controlled fleet of the Great Sun Country were already in the Atlantic Ocean. The warships opened their doors. Row after row of soldiers, without any protection, jumped into the Atlantic Ocean one after another. Ending all of this, the Great Priest of Maya led the fleet back to Mexico, while the warships of the Great Sun Country continued westward, entering the Pacific Ocean. Another day later, the warships of the Great Sun Country arrived in Southeast Asia at the same time. Ling Luo also arrived. The two sides didn't know each other, but it didn't affect the handover. Under the control of a group of Maya priests, Pushan Xiaoyaozi and the high-level officials of the Great Sun Country held an online press conference. First was a confession of guilt. Pushan Xiaoyaozi admitted that due to her decision-making errors, 400,000 warriors of the Great Sun Country were buried in Motto. Then, it was announced that she would resign from the position of Prime Minister of the Cabinet effective immediately, and Ling Luo would take over for the sake of superficial legitimacy. Ling Luo inevitably had to be given a legal identity as a citizen of the Great Sun Country. As for whether anyone believed it, it didn't matter, because those who didn't believe it wouldn't see the sun the next day. After completing the handover ceremony, the Maya priests began the final cleanup. Pushan Xiaoyaozi and all the management involved in the Battle of Motto were all executed for their crimes. Mr. Dongfang, now that the Great Sun Country is under my control, what should I do next? Ling Luo asked. Those ordinary people don't have much use either. Just let them all raise rats and produce crystal cores. Your main task is to build defensive fortifications in key locations and be constantly on guard against the attack of the Tasmanian Empire, Dongfang Chen said. Yes, Ling Luo obeyed. Okay, that's it then. Dongfang Chen prepared to hang up the communication. Wait, Mr. Dongfang, Ling Luo quickly said. Is there anything else? Dongfang Chen asked. Mr. Dongfang, Ling Luo wanted to say something, but couldn't open his mouth. If there's any problem, you can say it directly, Dongfang Chen said. I will definitely do it well. Ling Luo held back for a long time and said an ambiguous sentence. He originally wanted to ask how he could gain his trust. However, after thinking about it, he felt that asking this question was worthless, so he simply didn't say it. Well, that's it then. After speaking, Dongfang Chen hung up the communication. For Dongfang Chen, no matter what he did, it was impossible to gain complete trust. If he had good luck and a firm stance, he would still have a chance to continue living. If he was unlucky, or swayed left and right in the middle, then his end would be exactly the same as Pushan Xiaoyaozi's. After the cleanup work was completed, Dongfang Chen began consultations with Maya and Agula respectively. The core issue of the consultation was to build underground bases for them. For compensation, the reward that Maya needed to pay was vibration crystal. The reward that Agula needed to pay was Vibration gold. The matter of building an underground base for Maya had been discussed before the attack on Mado. Now it was just a final confirmation. Originally, the great priest of Maya wasn't very interested. But Dongfang Chen told him two things. First, the surface ecology will become more and more harsh, and it will be difficult for people to survive. Second, the United States of America may use weapons of mass destruction at any time, which is a great threat. Chapter 629, Tactical Hibernation. Of course, the best way to convince the Mayans is to tell them that the Muni people still exist and are everywhere, but this reason cannot be brought up for discussion, so Dongfang Chen can only painstakingly persuade them. In the end, the Mayan high priest only agreed to establish an underground survival base in case of emergency. The suggestion to build a completely enclosed underground base was not adopted. Mr. Dongfang, the Mayan people are not cowards and will not live in caves. I appreciate your kindness, but I must refuse, the high priest said. Mr. High priest, this is not cowardice, but a tactical dormancy. The purpose is to accumulate strength and find an opportunity to give the enemy a fatal blow. Dongfang Chen still did not give up. He cannot give up. The glittering vibration crystals are beckoning to him. These vibration crystals must be obtained. Only when they are in his own hands are they safe. When Mado was not destroyed, the Mayan people were not afraid of life and death. Now that it has been destroyed, what is there to fear? The high priest was ready to die and would not listen to reason. Didn't you predict before that even if Mado was destroyed, the fate of mankind would not change? It can be seen that our enemies are still there, and they are more hidden and more dangerous. Then we must not hide. This was the first time Dongfang Chen had painstakingly persuaded someone so much, but he couldn't convince them. Since he couldn't convince them, he could only use tricks. Mr. High priest, if you are willing to enter the underground base and seal yourself in, I can exchange it for something. Mr. Dongfang, thank you for your concern. This old man's life is not long, and there is no need to make a big fuss. It turned out that the high priest thought that Dongfang Chen suggested he build a closed base to protect his safety. I can throw in a mine detector. Dongfang Chen directly threw out a trump card. What did you say? A mine detector? Do you have the construction technology for a mine detector? The high priest's eyes widened. This is their exclusive skill of the Leventa clan, a skill that has long been lost. That's right. Mr. High Priest, as long as you agree to build an underground closed base and seal yourself in the base, I can give you the construction technology of the mine detector. Dongfang Chen replied, okay. I agree. The high priest did not hesitate. Compared with being a coward, restoring the Mayan heritage skills is the main thing. After reaching an agreement with the high priest, the next was Touches. Touches originally wanted to trade with Dongfang Chen, and now building another base didn't matter to him. The key problem is to be sealed in the base, which is a bit difficult. Mr. Dongfang, why must we be sealed in the base? Is this necessary? You consider this matter yourself. I can only say that whether you like it or not, you will face this step in the future. Dongfang Chen replied, I want to ask, if I don't agree to be sealed in the base, can the warship transaction continue? Touches asked. Dongfang Chen could completely put pressure on him and tell him that if he didn't accept this suggestion, he would terminate the cooperation. However, forced melons are not sweet. Take control of your own destiny. The warship transaction is not affected. Dongfang Chen replied, okay, I understand. I need to consider this matter and give you a reply later. Touches breathed a sigh of relief. Okay. After ending the call, he immediately contacted the last target, the Oris country. Validov agreed immediately when he heard that he was going to build another base for him. As for whether it was closed or not, he didn't care. It's better to be closed. It's safer to be closed after a round of negotiations. The confirmed allies are China, Maya, and Oris. Time waits for no one. Let's do it now. China's Lopner closed base is already expanding in an orderly manner. The next thing to do is to finalize the construction location, specifications, and price of the base with the remaining two countries. After everything was settled, Zhang Yuankui led the warship to set off and began to in a flash. 6 days past February 10, 2057 AD. There are the most things to do on this day. First of all, today is the day to deliver goods to the Auction Federation. 27 brand new warships departed from the Bardo City main base early in the morning and flew towards the Russian-Austrian border. Will had already arrived at the trading location early, 10 a.m. General Will, I am here to deliver the goods on the order of Mr. Dongfang, Zhang Yuankui said. Thank you very much. The credit of the Ulan neutral zone is great. Will's mech raised a thumb. I wonder if General Will, are the crystals ready? Zhang Yuankui did not exchange pleasantries. Of course, with Will's order, The warship dragged over a few large boxes. Zhang Yuankui opened it and carefully checked it. Dongfang Chen also carefully inspected the goods through the digital eye. Chapter 630. 2.7 million vibration crystals obtained. With so many vibranium crystals, not even the slightest mistake can be tolerated. Just looking at the surface isn't enough. With Akhan's mischievous nature, he might pull some tricks, so Dongfang Chen had Zhang Yuanqi activate the tags and secretly destroy a crate. Clang! A loud crash. A crate shattered, scattering vibranium crystals all over the ground. The soldiers on both sides immediately tense up, all raising their guns and cautiously guarding. General Will, this crate's quality is terrible, Zhang Yuanqi said with an awkward smile. Everyone, lower your guns, Will reprimanded his subordinates. Dongfang Chen was relieved to see that everything spilled out was indeed vibranium crystals. Crates left for too long are bound to rot eventually, Will replied. I've checked the crystals, and they're fine. These battleships are yours, Zhang Yuanqi said with a smile. Excellent. Please tell Mr. Dongfang that this was a pleasant transaction, and we look forward to the next cooperation, Will said. After speaking, he signaled his subordinates to take over the battleships. Of course, I will. Then, please inspect the goods first, and I'll arrange for loading, Zhang Yuanqi replied with a smile. As you wish. This transaction went smoothly. Without any unexpected events. This is easy to understand. If Akhan wanted to obtain more technology and equipment from the Ulan neutral zone, he definitely wouldn't tamper with the vibranium crystals. Zhang Yuanqi still had the 2.7 million vibranium crystals brought back to Bado City first. After repackaging, Dongfang Chen would arrange for battleships to secretly transport them to Ulan. Besides this matter, the second matter was that all the underground bases across the country had secretly restored communication. This was thanks to Shen Wenggang's tireless deployment of queen bees over the past few days. After the underground bases restored communication, they didn't rush to eliminate those silicon-based life forms, nor did they want to alert them. The best approach now was to secretly monitor them. Previously, the enemy was in the shadows, and we were in the light. Now, it was the opposite. The enemy was in the light, and we were in the shadows. As long as we monitored them in real time, we would have complete control over the enemy's every move, especially the Binjiang main base. Gu Qingyi's exposure saved him a lot of trouble. Let them play for now. After dealing with the serious remnants on the moon, he would come back and deal with her. Dongfang Chen notified Old Qin as soon as the base communications were restored. Old Qin, the base communications have now been restored. You can rest assured now. That's good. That's good. To be honest, I've been thinking a lot these past few days. Sometimes, I feel that humans are quite fragile. One wrong move, and they'll fall into the abyss. Living has never been a random event, but rather, even if we exhaust all our strength, we can only fight for a glimmer of hope. Haha, Old Qin, you don't need to be so melancholic. In fact, as long as we control the current situation, our chances of winning are still very high, Dongfang Chen said with a smile. I hope so, Old Qin sighed. In his opinion, this was still a dead end. Everywhere he looked, there were enemies. Just a few people huddled in a dark base. It would be difficult to turn the tide. For the next period, think carefully and draw up a list. Limit the number to 20, mainly administrative positions. Let Xiaolin send people over to help you. I am speeding up the expansion of the base, and it should be completed in about 10 days. When the personnel are in place, we can officially start working, Dongfang Chen said. Good, we have already negotiated with the Mayan United Empire and the Ors Republic. I will build a small enclosed base first, which will be completed in about 6 days. When the personnel are gathered, we will discuss the establishment of the Blue Star Future Federation, Dongfang Chen added. Okay. What did Agila say? Tuchus is still considering it. But it doesn't matter, he will join sooner or later, Dongfang Chen replied. Good, Old Qin nodded. After hanging up, the next most important thing was at hand. The space station's secondary and tertiary ring modules had already been built. The Ulan military base had also completed the production of light crystal panels. Now, it was time to start building the charging station. First, he needed to transport some of the light crystal panels produced at the Bado City underground base and 10,000 vibranium crystals to Ulan for secrecy. This work was carried out unattended. After 3 hours of sorting and transportation, they had now arrived in Ulan. Now, they were being loaded onto the transport Ulan ground 2. Air transport spacecraft had also been completed simultaneously. Once loading was complete, it could take off and head to the space station. This transport mission had some risks. If anyone saw the battleship taking off, it could expose the space station. Although the probability of this happening was extremely low, Precautions had to be taken to mislead others. Zhang Yuanka would need to lead the battleships around in the sky a few times to confuse them. Chapter 631 Preparing for the Mars Base. February 11, 2057 AD, 9 a.m. A small-scale aerial combat exercise unfolded in the Ulan-Gumuk region. One side consisted of raw recruits from the base, while the other was a special operations team led by Zhang Yuanqi. The two sides exchanged attacks, creating a lively scene at the same time. A special spacecraft quietly increased its altitude and flew towards outer space. Half an hour later, the ground-to-space spacecraft docked with a space station, and Dongfang Chen finally breathed a sigh of relief. The most dangerous step could be considered complete. The material transfer robots in the space station quickly unloaded the light crystal panels and vibration crystals, directly distributing them to the nuclear powered transport spacecraft in the secondary ring-shaped module. In addition, the integrated control station produced by the primary ring-shaped module was also ready and could be loaded onto the ship at the same time. Now that there were enough robots and they were working together efficiently, loading and unloading these materials was not a problem at all. In 2 hours, all 18,000 miniature space transport spacecraft were fully loaded. Mr. Dongfang, the materials are ready, we can depart. Xiaolin reported. This was a historic moment, and even Menka watched with unwavering attention. All right, depart, Dongfang Chen said solemnly. Command issued. On the screen, in the secondary ring-shaped module of the space station, a group of miniature transport spacecraft flew out of their docking positions one by one, and then formed a queue outside the space station. The scene was like a swarm of bees flying out of a beehive. They were not large in size and were equipped with warp drive engines. With a powerful output of miniature nuclear-powered batteries, they could achieve extremely high acceleration due to the low stability and high failure rate of electrical equipment. The design speed of this miniature nuclear-powered transport spacecraft could only reach 500,000 kilometers per hour. At this speed, it would take 10 days to reach near solar orbit. After all, it was a temporary measure, and he could fully accept this time frame. The spacecraft quickly left Blue Star's orbit and flew towards the sun. Now all that was left was to wait. After the first batch of light-absorbing units was deployed, he did not plan to produce any more light crystal panels on the ground. The risk of transporting them back and forth was too high and not worth the gamble now. He was pondering how to establish a light crystal panel production base on other planets. To establish a base on other planets, the first step was to establish communication. Currently, the space station could only communicate with Blue Star, and other planets could not be monitored. To establish communication, it would be necessary to set up synchronous orbit satellites in the orbit of that planet and establish a supercomputing center on the ground for data processing. Could the supercomputing center be directly set up on the satellite? Of course, that was also possible, but firstly, the reliability would be lower, and secondly, expansion would be inconvenient in the short term. Building them separately would be the most efficient and convenient to use. Currently, the most suitable planet for establishing a production base was Mars. In addition, now that the conditions were right, it was time to consider diversifying the eggs in the basket. Currently, all the data of the Nata civilization was stored in the space station, and if it were destroyed, it would be devastating. Therefore, since he was going to build a base on Mars, it was best to do it in one step. Xiaolin, I am now planning to set up a new base on Mars and back up all the core data there. Draw up a plan to minimize the construction time. Okay, Commander. Should we consider establishing a human living area at the Mars base? Xiaolin asked. Not under consideration for the time being. Okay, analyzing, Commander. Analysis complete. It will take at least 1 month. Xiaolin quickly gave the result. Oh? How exactly will it work? This time was much shorter than expected. Producing a Mars synchronous orbit communication satellite will take 2 days. Using the current miniature nuclear-powered transport spacecraft, transporting the satellite, the Queen Bee, and the vibration crystal to Mars will take 8 days. After the Queen Bee is deployed on Mars, building the supercomputing center will take about 20 days, Xiaolin briefly reported. In other words, this plan can only be launched after waiting for the fully charged vibration crystal to be sent back. Dongfang Chen asked. Yes, Xiaolin replied. At the current charging speed, a vibration crystal could be fully charged in 10 days, but to get this vibration crystal, it would take about 40 days because the transport spacecraft would take 20 days for a round trip. Building the charging station would take 10 days. And charging would take 10 days, alright. Then how will the data backup be implemented? Dongfang Chen asked. Both the communication satellite and the Mars supercomputing center will use quantum communication. After the base is established, data can be silently synchronized in the background. In this case, The backup process will not require extra calculation time, Xiaolin explained. Okay, let's do it that way. Now, produce the satellite and the queen bee first. As soon as the vibration crystal is transported back, we'll set off immediately, Dongfang Chen instructed. Chapter 632, The First Meeting of the Blue Star Future Federation. 10 days passed in a flash. The underground enclosed base of the Russian Federation and the Mayan United Empire had completed the construction of a small office area, Mr. Validov, the office is ready. Please prepare and move in as soon as possible, Mr. Oriental, is it that urgent? There's no difference between sooner or later. Besides, starting earlier gives us more initiative, Dongfang Chen replied. Okay, I'll arrange it and go over as soon as possible. Validov replied seriously. He was always joking around, but when he got serious, he was decisive. Immediately afterward, he contacted the Mayan high priest. High priest, you can come over now. Okay, the high priest didn't say much for him. There was nothing to prepare. He could leave at any time he wanted. During this waiting time, Dongfang Chen began to operate on another matter. The miniature nuclear-powered transport spacecraft had already arrived in near-solar orbit. The integrated control station had already been released into orbit and started working. It integrated a quantum communicator, which could establish a connection with the space station. After being activated, start building the charging station. Dongfang Chen issued the order. Yes, Your Excellency Commander. Xiaolin issued the order, and the transport spacecraft began to line up to dock with the integrated control station. The transport spacecraft quickly completed loading, and the light crystal panels loaded inside were unloaded into the integrated control station. With one click the spacecraft separated, and the next spacecraft began to dock. On the other side, the space inside the integrated control station was also limited. The unloaded light crystal panels were output one by one, like printing, and quickly spliced together. The splicing method was spiral outward. It would take 10 days to complete the splicing of all 10,000 light-absorbing units. Dongfang Chen was relieved to see that all the work was being carried out in an orderly manner. 5 hours later, Validov and the Mayan high priest entered the enclosed base one after another. The first meeting of the Blue Star Future Federation officially began. Let me introduce you to the two of you. This elder is the high priest of the Mayan United Empire. The three greeted each other. Okay, now I announce the meeting begins. Mr. Validov and Mr. High Priest have been wondering why we must build an enclosed underground base for safety reasons. We didn't explicitly explain it to everyone before coming in. Now is the time to explain in detail. Mr. High Priest, you are right on one point. Our ancestors did come from Venus. However, this description is more one-sided. Please look at the big screen. Dongfang Chen turned on the screen showing the Sirius star system invading the solar system. Does everyone know where this planet is? Dongfang Chen asked, pointing to ancient Mercury. Qin Lao already knew some of it, so he could naturally guess that this was Mercury. However, he didn't spoil it. The Mayan high priest was very familiar with astronomy and the calendar, and he also knew a lot about the planetary orbits of the solar system, so he was the first to discover the problem. Shouldn't this be an asteroid belt? Logically speaking, there should be an asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, and there shouldn't be any large planets. Now suddenly one appeared, which looked very strange. That's right, there's indeed an asteroid belt here now. But 1 billion years ago, there used to be a planet here. Dongfang Chen didn't immediately announce the answer, but instead kept everyone in suspense. This is an alien civilization's battleship. The purpose of their trip is this planet. The screen changed to show the cone-shaped battleship group of Sirius. The three of them watched carefully, and no one interrupted. Boom! Soon, Mercury was directly shattered under the bombardment of the battleship. Several of the larger pieces changed speed and fell towards the sun, except for one piece that stabilized in near-solar orbit. The other pieces were swallowed by the sun. This is Mercury, the Mayan high priest understood. That's right, this is the first fact I want to tell everyone. The human ancestors did not come from Venus, but from Mercury. Mr. Dongfang, is there any basis for this? The Mayan high priest asked. Sorry, everything on Mercury was destroyed in the explosion. Dongfang Chen shook his head without evidence. These things he said would be covered with question marks. The subsequent screen showed the battle between the Mars base and Sirius, a tragic battle everyone just watched, and no one spoke after that. The human survivors began to build on Venus, followed by a major outbreak of the virus. Then came the decline of the Venus humans, and human extinction. Mr. Dongfang, this doesn't seem right, does it? If the humans on Venus were extinct, how did we come about? The high priest continued to ask. I regret to tell you that we did not migrate from Venus, Dongfang Chen replied. Impossible. In our memories, there are images of our ancestors living on Venus. The high priest disagreed. Dongfang Chen was not in a hurry and said step by step, you are not actually called the Mayan tribe, but the Levanta tribe. The name Maya only came about after arriving on Blue Star. Chapter 633 The only advantage. Actually, you are not called the Mayan people, but the Levanta people. The name Maya only came about after arriving on Blue Star, said Dongfang Chen. Levanta people. The high priest fell into deep thought. He had a faint memory of this name, but he never knew what relationship it had with the Mayan people he belonged to. That's right, I don't know if you have any memories of this. But there's absolutely no mistake that you are a Levanta person. Because the Levanta people have genes for memory inheritance, which is very consistent with the characteristics of the Maya people. The Mayan high priest believed it a little, but not much, because this was all Dongfang Chen's one-sided account. Without any corroboration, a video plate could be synthesized, making it even less credible. Mr. Dongfang, this matter needs further verification, and I cannot fully believe it yet, the high priest said frankly. Okay, it doesn't matter. This matter is not the focus of what we want to talk about today. Next, Dongfang Chen roughly recounted the experiences of Blue Star humans over the past hundreds of thousands of years. He focused on the destruction of the 4 ancient civilizations by the Mauni people, and these Mauni people were the predecessors of the Mauni religion. These things have certain archaeological discoveries as corroboration, so the credibility is higher. Mr. Dongfang, are we and the Mercury humans really of the same origin? Validov asked. The scene he saw was Mercury being destroyed, Venus humans becoming extinct, and Blue Star humans rising. But where did the Blue Star humans come from? It was not mentioned in it. Of course, they are of the same origin. Otherwise, what do you think is the probability of Blue Star evolving the same life form as Mercury? As far as I know, the reason why there are humans on Blue Star is due to a secret plan of the Dragon Kingdom, the human cultivation plan. After the Venusian ecology was destroyed, the Dragon Kingdom believed that it was necessary to find a new home. So, they set their sights on Blue Star. At the moment, he explained the contents of the ecological transformation plan and the human cultivation plan together in the middle. The existence of the Mars secret base was removed because this content is not allowed to be disclosed to the outside world. However, after removing the Mars base, the whole story sounds a bit fantastical. There are still many irreconcilable contradictions in the middle, and Dongfang Chen used not knowing as an excuse to perfunctorily get through them. If everyone can believe 10% of such a story, it would be giving him face. Originally, this story would have ended here. The Venusian humans became extinct, and the Blue Star humans rose. However, starting from the outbreak of the virus, after more than 2 years of investigation, I discovered a shockingly abnormal fact. What fact? Validov asked. On the back of the moon, there are still survivors of Sirius. Dongfang Chen replied. What? Validov was shocked. Although the Mayan high priest was shocked, he did not show it. Qin Lao already knew these situations, so he did not express anything. Later, through a gene analysis instrument, I discovered that there is an abnormal DNA code fragment in human bodies. This makes us extremely susceptible to virus attacks, and at any time may be controlled by those Sirius survivors. After 2 hours of laying the groundwork, Dongfang Chen finally got to the point. You mean that not only those Mado adults, but all of us may be controlled? Validov asked to confirm. That's right. Dongfang Chen nodded in acknowledgement. Is the news accurate? Validov asked. Absolutely true. Please look at the big screen, everyone. Dongfang Chen visualized the analysis results of the gene code. However, this thing is too professional, and no one on the scene can understand it. Moreover, from the sampling results, almost everyone contains this code. Dongfang Chen omitted the analysis of the Mars base and could only say that it was the result of his own sampling survey. Now, does everyone know why you must be brought to this closed underground base? Dongfang Chen asked. There was a bit too much information, and the two people were still digesting it. Without immediately expressing their positions, Dongfang Chen was not in a hurry either, quietly waiting. 20 minutes later, I understand. Now our only advantage is that we know about their existence in advance. If we don't actively isolate ourselves, then once we transform into Mauni people, the news will immediately leak out. Validov analyzed. That's right. Dongfang Chen nodded. The Mayan high priest did not speak, not knowing what he was thinking. Mr. High priest, do you have any other questions? Dongfang Chen asked. Although most of what you said has a strong subjectivity, it does not conflict with my clan's prophecies, and I think it has a certain degree of credibility. The high priest replied. That's good. Next, I'll talk about my plan. To defeat the serious survivors, we first need an absolutely reliable team. As long as the loopholes in our bodies are not cleared, it will never be possible to defeat them. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 634 Treatment of New Mingxuan. To defeat the remnants of the Sirius Star people, we first need an absolutely reliable team. As long as the loopholes in our genes are not cleared, it will be impossible to defeat them. So, my plan is to use about 20 years to repair human genes. At the same time, during this period, we will accumulate strength and eliminate the remnants of the Sirius Star people as soon as possible. I agree. Validov understood and expressed his approval. I agree too. The Mayan high priest also stated his position. He had already foreseen that humanity would still be extinct after the Great Motto destruction. However, he could not see the specific reason for humanity's demise from the prophecy. Okay, since everyone agrees, I propose the establishment of the Blue Star Future Federation to gather all forces and jointly solve the future crisis of mankind. Dongfang Chen said this proposal is not just a proposal nor is it a discussion everyone is smart and can understand with a little analysis. First of all, from the perspective of the result, to achieve the final victory, all the Moni people must be eliminated. So how to achieve complete elimination? Two routes, either repair, or eliminate now. Apart from Dongfang Chen, no one possesses the technology for gene repair, so their choice is simple, either join or be eliminated. Secondly, their current situation does not allow them to refuse. The reason why Dongfang Chen dares to reveal these secrets is because everyone is in a closed base. If they refuse, can they leave the base? Obviously not so. If they don't agree, they can only die in this base. Of course, everyone is willing to enter the closed base because of their trust in Dongfang Chen. Dongfang Chen would not fall out with them unless absolutely necessary. To solve the current crisis, the joint efforts of all mankind are needed. In this matter, no one should, and is not allowed to, refuse for any reason. Everyone, whether you agree or not, the Blue Star Future Federation will inevitably be established. From today onwards, there will only be two types of people on Blue Star, healthy people and Moni people. The mission of the Blue Star Future Federation is to completely eliminate the Moni people and rebuild the human homeland. Please state your positions. Dongfang Chen's wording became stern. The reason is that everyone has not yet realized the seriousness of the problem and has not corrected their position. Is anyone an outsider? No. Should anyone be an outsider? Impossible. So, what else is there to think about? Just do it. I agree. Qin Lao's statement played a leading role. I agree. Validov and the Mayan high priest also successively stated their positions. Good. I announce, the Blue Star Future Federation is officially established. I hope everyone will work together to create a future for mankind. Then I will arrange the first task. Everyone should draft a list, with a number of people limited to 20. These 20 people will be given priority to enter the closed base to help everyone complete various administrative tasks. After the meeting, Dongfang Chen began the second expansion of several closed bases. The main content of this expansion is the gene repair cabin. The technical solution of the gene repair cabin comes from the Mars base. The Nata civilization does not have it. After integrating the technical data of the Mars base, the gene programming level of the space station has been successfully unlocked to level 9, that is to say, nowadays, the heredity, variation, modification, and repair of organisms are not a problem, and there is a complete ability to create new species, but the prerequisite is that there is enough computing power. In order to save time, each closed base will temporarily build 22 gene repair cabins. After the construction is completed, the Queen Bee will spend a certain amount of time building living and office facilities. After the task is issued, Dongfang Chen can relax for a few days. These days, he wants to settle a worry, treating Niu Xingwang's son. Originally, because the gene programming technology was not activated, Dongfang Chen had no way to treat him. So, he could only temporarily build a treatment cabin for him, maintaining his vital signs 24 hours a day. Now that gene technology has been fully activated, treating his illness is not a problem at all. Hey, brother Niu, I have good news for you. Mr. Dongfang, please speak. Niu Xingwang is now becoming more and more respectful, like a big butler. I have found a way to treat Mingxuan, Dongfang Chen said. Really? Niu Xingwang was a little excited, afraid that he was dreaming. It's true. But it may take you some effort to send Mingxuan to Lochner? Dongfang Chen said. Okay, I'll arrange it right away, Niu Xingwang said excitedly. Yes. There is one more thing I want to make clear to you in advance. Please speak. Niu Xingwang calmed down. Mixuan's treatment cycle may be a bit long, and we may not be able to meet for a short time. It doesn't matter. As long as he can get better, none of this matters, Niu Xingwang replied sadly. Chapter 635, Use my spear to attack my shield. It doesn't matter. As long as he can get better, nothing else matters, Niu Xingwang replied, his voice filled with sorrow such as the heart of a parent. As long as their child is well, nothing else matters. Alright. Get ready, I'll let you know when we're leaving, Dongfang Chen replied. Actually, gene therapy for Niu Mingxuan could also be done at the underground base in Bardo. It's just that the gene repair technology is a bit sensitive. Firstly, the technology itself is anti-human and anti-biological. Uninformed people might use this as an excuse to gather and cause trouble. Although Dongfang Chen isn't afraid of anyone causing trouble, there's no need to create problems for himself. Secondly, the era-defining nature of this technology. Theoretically, once gene technology is completely cracked, any disease can be cured. In other words, humanity can be considered to have entered an era of immortality. The diseases and aging of the human body are essentially gene problems. Therefore, the process of gene repair can allow a person to forever maintain their physical peak. Imagine if a person knew they could return to 18 years old, and as long as they have regular repairs, they could stay 18 forever. What would they do? They would spare no expense to obtain this gene repair opportunity. So, once the news gets out, who knows how many people will make a fuss about it, openly and secretly. Thirdly, there's the risk of alerting the enemy. If the remaining members of Sirius learn that humans have mastered gene repair technology, they will definitely increase their efforts to sabotage, and may even resort to various extreme measures. Now is not the time to expose it. Therefore, considering all factors, it's safest to bring Niu Mingxuan to a closed base for treatment. Niu Xingwang personally escorted the warship to the Lopner base, reluctantly watching the sealed treatment pod containing Niu Mingxuan leave the warship. Son. Get well soon. Niu Xingwang wiped his tears with his sleeve and turned to leave. He hadn't told his wife, Liu Qiqin, about this yet, thinking he'd wait until after the treatment was completely successful. It's better for one person to worry than for two people to be anxious at the same time. This was just a small interlude. February 22nd, 2057 AD. Unusual activity was detected at a shielded base in China. Commander Gu Chengyi has just issued an order to gather warships from various bases in the central Inner Mongolia province, preparing to launch an attack on the main Bardo base tomorrow morning. Quite the appetite. Planning to use my spear against my shield, Dongfang Chen smiled contemptuously. Issue instructions to all bases, requiring each warship to have a dedicated micro-queen bee monitoring the warship's condition at all times. Their only task is to immediately eliminate any silicon-based life forms they detect. Yes, Commander, now that the base's communication has been restored, the queen bees in each base can be controlled, and since the warships are still in the base, the queen bees have the opportunity to implant micro-queen bees onto the warships. Their mission is set to activate upon implantation. In other words, regardless of whether the warship's signal is shielded, the implanted micro-queen bees can immediately eliminate any silicon-based microorganisms they detect. This is equivalent to setting up a firewall in the warship in advance. Any silicon-based life form attempting to interfere with the communication equipment will be immediately eliminated. As long as the silicon-based life forms are eliminated, the warship's communication will not be shielded. In this way, these warships will not be out of control. As long as the warships are still under control, no matter how Gu Chengyi tries to put on a show, she won't be able to pull it off. In other words, Dongfang Chen will only let her perform if he wants her to. If he doesn't want her to, she won't be able to perform even if she wants to. After all, these warships are his property, and it would be a shame to damage them. So, Dongfang Chen's idea is, let them run around if they want to. As long as they can't break through the base, they won't have any way to succeed. Of course, things have to be done discreetly. He doesn't want to prematurely reveal the fact that he can monitor the base. The next morning, around 6 a.m., the various bases began to move. Gu Chengyi's request wasn't high. Each base only needed to send one warship. Even so, nearly 300 bases could gather nearly 300 warships. This formation was quite explosive. There were people on the warships specifically responsible for jamming signals. Everyone thought that Dongfang Chen wouldn't be able to detect it at all, so Dongfang Chen also pretended to be completely unaware, in order to cooperate with their performance. Around 9 a.m., the warships finished gathering. Gu Chengyi didn't come in person. The Huagua government currently has no control, and the high-level members of the council are hiding in the Kyoto base. Completely unaware at 10 o'clock, the warships began to depart, heading north to attack the Ulan neutral zone. They proceeded smoothly all the way, arriving over Bardo 2 hours later. Commander, Gu Qingyi is requesting a call, Xiaolin reported. Connect it. Dongfang Chen, didn't expect this, did you? The weapon you built with your own hands will ultimately deliver a fatal blow to yourself, Gu Qingyi said sarcastically. Chapter 636, Ways to Obtain Intelligence. Dongfang Chen, never thought of this, right? The weapon you created with your own hands is now giving you a fatal blow, Gu Qingyi said sarcastically. Indeed, I didn't expect that, Dongfang Chen replied. Anyway, I have nothing to do now, so I might as well just sit and watch her show off. Now, the only base you can rely on is this one, right? Do you want to keep it? Gu Qingyi asked with faint sympathy. Of course, I do, Dongfang Chen answered. Since we have worked together, I don't want to push things too far. How about we make a deal? What deal? Hand over the leader of the Moni sect and agree to submit to my command. You can continue to manage this base, Gu Qingyi stated. Her conditions. If you didn't mention it, I would have forgotten that I still have a hostage here. How about this? You return the control of the Binjian base to me, and that good-for-nothing sect leader is yours. How does that sound? Dongfang Chen asked. Ha? Dongfang Chen, you are killing me with laughter. Haven't you figured out the situation yet? Now, you have no room to bargain, Gu Qingyi laughed. Is that so? Forget it then. I won't trade. You can go back, Dongfang Chen said. Do you think this is a vegetable market? Whether we trade or not is not up to you. Gu Qingyi's tone turned cold. Really? I just won't trade. What can you do to me? Dongfang Chen deliberately teased her. It seems you really won't listen to good advice. I give you 30 minutes to hand over the person, or the entire Bardo base won't be left standing, Gu Qingyi threatened fiercely. Okay, we'll see. After saying that, Dongfang Chen hung up the communication. Commander, we have detected silicon-based life forms invading the base. Xiaolin reported. This was not surprising. Gu Qingyi was definitely not an idiot. Being able to seize control of the base from Dongfang Chen without making a sound was something that ordinary people could not do so. It would be strange if she didn't have a backup plan. It seemed that she was giving him time to consider on the surface, but in reality, she was secretly buying time to shield the base. That's not right. Dongfang Chen suddenly thought of a problem. Gu Qingyi must know that he was not on the base. How could she know? If Gu Qingyi knew he was in the base, she wouldn't use the trick of shielding the base, because if he was in the base, he could control it regardless of whether it was shielded or not. How did she know? Dongfang Chen frowned. There must be a mole in Bardo City. This was the most logical explanation, of course. With 3 million people living in the base, it was normal to have moles. The question was, how were they communicating, and why didn't they directly shield Bardo City in the first place? The Monisex method of communication was still a mystery. Gu Qingyi never contacted outsiders and was under Xiaolin's surveillance 24 hours a day, but she was still able to understand the latest situation dynamics, silently understand the battle situation of Motto, and silently arrange for people to enter various bases. There must be some imperceptible communication method behind this. As for why Bardo City was not shielded, it was easy to understand, because Gu Qingyi did not have the authority to arrange personnel there after the Huituang Chamber of Commerce was nationalized. Gu Qingyi successfully became the president of the chamber. Personnel transfers were originally her authority, so it was only natural that she could control these bases, but Bardo City was not within the control of the Chamber of Commerce. Niu Xingwang did not take her with him when he left. Therefore, Gu Qingyi had no chance to intervene in the management of Bardo City. Having figured this out, there was one issue that needed to be paid close attention to: Gu Qingyi's method of obtaining information. This was crucial. If Gu Qingyi could obtain information remotely through some method, then even in a closed base, the news was not absolutely confidential. Xiaolin, have you monitored the electromagnetic signals within the base? I suspect that Gu Qingyi may have the ability to communicate remotely in a way we have not yet detected, Dongfang Chen asked. Commander, the monitoring of Gu Qingyi has never stopped, and the monitoring methods include the analysis of abnormal electromagnetic waves. According to the monitoring results, no anomalies have been found, Xiaolin replied. This was very strange, and there was another strange phenomenon. Gu Qingyi was able to talk to him even when the underground base was shielded, which was a problem in itself. Menka, what do you think is the way she communicates? Dongfang Chen looked at Menka and asked. Analyzing problems with her was a pretty good experience. Quantum communication methods are not affected by electromagnetic shielding, Menka replied. Quantum communication? That's impossible, right? There are no quantum communication devices in the base. Dongfang Chen frowned. Dongfang Chen thought of a possibility. Why is it impossible? Who said that quantum communication must have communication equipment? Menka asked rhetorically. Chapter 637, Level 7 Mutant. How is it impossible? Who said quantum communication must require communication equipment? Monka retorted. Are you suggesting that she herself is a quantum communication device? Dongfang Chen asked. Something like that, Monka replied. Xiaolin, immediately order the Queen Bee to perform a full-body scan on Gu Qingyi. Be discreet and don't alert her, Dongfang Chen ordered. Yes, Commander. The order has been issued. 20 minutes later, Commander, the detection is complete. Gu Qingyi's vital signs are normal and consistent with basic human characteristics. The system judges that she falls within the human category, Xiaolin reported. Test her again to see if she is a mutant, Dongfang Chen ordered. Yes, Commander. The order has been issued and is being executed, Commander. After testing, it has been determined that she is a mutant. Mutation level is 7, ability type unknown. Xiaolin quickly reported the results. Level 7, Dongfang Chen was taken aback. Didn't the Mani sect fail to complete the sacrificial ceremony? In that case, the highest mutation level shouldn't be level 4, right? How could a level 7 mutant suddenly appear? Now he basically has a guess that Gu Qingyi's communication method is likely related to her ability level 7. That's too abnormal, Commander. There's another situation, Xiaolin added. What situation? Dongfang Chen asked. Gu Qingyi's body contains a crystal core, and it's a Tier 7 crystal core, Xiaolin replied. Tier 7 crystal core? Dongfang Chen gasped. A Tier 7 crystal core is equivalent to 10 to the power of 18 Tier 1 crystal cores. 10 to the power of 18 is 10 billion billion. Could this have evolved naturally? Xiaolin, check all bases and mark all mutants, Dongfang Chen ordered. Yes, Commander. The task has been issued and is expected to be completed within 10 days. Xiaolin replied. Gu Qingyi's situation is definitely not an isolated case. If there's one, there will be many. This situation must be investigated thoroughly soon. 30 minutes passed. Gu Qingyi called again. Dongfang Chen, have you considered it? No trade, Dongfang Chen replied very decisively. Since you're so unappreciative, don't blame me for being impolite. Gu Qingyi hung up the phone at the same time. The fleet of warships hovering over Bardo City began to activate, launching an attack on the ground. Hundreds of blue lasers were fired simultaneously. A spectacular scene. However, it had no effect. The base's high-powered shield intercepted all of these laser beams. It can still activate the shield. Gu Qingyi was somewhat surprised. Logically speaking, Bardo City's communication should have been blocked by now. So Dongfang Chen shouldn't be able to control it. After continuous attacks for more than 10 minutes, there was no effect. Gu Qingyi had no choice but to call it off. 20 blockers failed to block Bardo City's communication simultaneously, which said a lot. Gu Qingyi even suspected whether the China base hadn't been blocked. Was she being played? She quickly ordered her subordinates to test, and found that Binjian base was still in a block state. She breathed a sigh of relief when she got the result. If Bardo City's shield couldn't be broken, then continuing to besiege it would be useless. Helpless. Gu Qingyi could only order the warships to withdraw the battle to attack Bardo City, and it anticlimactically. Little did she know that this failure posed a great threat to her own management rights. The heads of various bases had serious doubts about Gu Qingyi's leadership. They didn't have a direct subordinate relationship within the Mani sect, and their current unity was because Gu Qingyi had taken advantage of the right time, place, and people. But this battle had a significant impact on her accumulated prestige. Gu Qingyi was now in a difficult situation. Bardo City was like an iron plate. Apart from undermining it from within, there was simply no way. Sun Zhou, I hope you can prioritize the overall situation and cooperate with my actions. Gu Qingyi sent a message. Sun Zhou was originally the head of the Xiaolin City resettlement camp, and later, through Lu Guian's introduction, he led the city's people to Bardo City unexpectedly. He was also a member of the Mani sect. Why should I cooperate with you? Who do you think you are? Sun Zhou retorted. Gu Qingyi had talked to him many times, but he had decisively refused. What's the situation with the leader now? Gu Qingyi asked. I don't know, Sun Zhou replied. Sun Zhou, you're going too far. The leader's safety is related to the future of the holy sect. You can't act arbitrarily, Gu Qingyi replied angrily. You know that too. When Dongfang Chen led the attack on Madoda, why didn't you do anything? Sun Zhou retorted. It turned out that he was dissatisfied with Gu Qingyi. No wonder. Sun Zhou had already leaked the news that Dongfang Chen was leading the attack on Model Da to her, but she didn't achieve anything, which ultimately led to Model Da's complete fall. Chapter 638 Military Affairs Section. Sun Zhou's lack of cooperation was, in a way, what saved his life. Otherwise, once Dongfang Chen discovered the truth, he would surely be done, for their actions were driven by their own selfish motives. With motto greatly breached, the cult leader had become a lone figure whose only remaining value was the title of cult leader. That he still held. Gu Qingyi wanted to use this title to solidify her own position. Sun Zhou was no different, harboring similar ambitions. February 25, 2057, 10 a.m. Sichuan Province, Yun City, Southwest Military Region Headquarters. Currently, the main force of the Southwest Military Region was stationed at the Mosinark base. Only the directly subordinate Special Forces Regiment was on duty at the headquarters on this day. Some strangers arrived at the headquarters. Hello. Military Administration Department, Military Affairs Section, Colonel Ding Honghu. Here is my identification. The soldier at the gate saluted and took the documents for verification, reporting, Sir, the commander is not here. I know, we are here for other matters this time. Ding Honghu said, Sir, I apologize. The headquarters communication is currently down, and I cannot let you in without authorization. The soldier refused to allow them entry. Is Xiao Kegan here? I'm looking for him. Please wait a moment, I'll report your arrival. The soldier saluted and entered the guardhouse to dial the internal line. 5 minutes later, please come in. After receiving authorization, the soldier allowed them to enter. Xiao Kegan was the commander of the directly subordinate Special Forces Regiment of the headquarters and was currently responsible for the security of the headquarters. He currently held the highest authority within the headquarters. Olding, what brings you here? Xiao Kegan was very polite. The two men sat down in the regimental commander's office. Now all the military regions and military sub-districts have lost contact. I'm ordered to come and verify the situation. Ding Honghu replied. He appeared serious and unsmiling. That's good. Did you bring any technicians? Quickly fix the fault. Every day of delay is another day of risk. Xiao Kegan nodded. He assumed Ding Honghu had come to repair the equipment after the Huituang Chamber of Commerce's business was split up. The military's communication system was taken over by the Military Administration Department. You've misunderstood. We are investigators, not repairmen. Ding Honghu corrected. Not here for repairs? Then what are you here for? Xiao Kegan sensed a hint of ambition. Where's Rongpo? Isn't he here? Ding Honghu didn't answer his question. Xiao Kegan frowned. Colonel Ding Honghu, please state your purpose, or I will have to ask you to leave. I am acting on the orders of the council to conduct a review of the garrison here. The purpose is to eliminate spies hidden within the military ranks. Ding Honghu replied. Isn't this against the rules? Does Commander Yan know about this? This is a top-secret mission, directly executed by the Military Administration Department. Ding Honghu replied. Olding, this matter is of great importance. I can't just listen to your side of the story. How about we wait for Commander Yan to return before discussing this? Xiao Kegan refused. Investigating spies could easily lead to deaths. How could it be done on a whim? Xiao Kegan, I think you haven't understood the situation. This isn't a discussion, but a notification. I can clearly tell you that your name is also on the review list. Ding Honghu threatened with narrowed eyes. Bang! A sound of slapping the table. Damn it! Who are you calling a spy? Xiao Kegan was furious. He had served in the army for more than 10 years, always working diligently. How could you be smeared by such a villain? Boom! Bang! Ding Honghu suddenly attacked, and Xiao Kegan was sent flying, crashing heavily to the ground. A desk shattered upon impact. You are a mutant. Xiao Kegan endured the severe pain and pointed at him, speaking with difficulty. Tell me, where's Rongpo? Ding Honghu teleported in front of him and asked coldly. You are the spy. Xiao Kegan understood the Military Administration Department wouldn't use violent methods. Bang! The door was kicked open, and a group of soldiers with live ammunition rushed in. They are spies. Take them all down. Xiao Kegan ordered. Don't move. We are from the Military Affairs Section. Xiao Kegan is suspected of being a cult spy and refuses to cooperate with the investigation. Anyone who dares to step forward will be regarded as a cult member. Ding Honghu shouted. The soldiers exchanged glances, still pulling back the bolts of their rifles. Believe a stranger over their own regimental commander. How could that be possible? Whoosh! Before they could pull the trigger, all the guns in their hands flew away and fell to the ground. The speed was too fast, and no one understood what had happened. Bang bang bang! Ah! While they were still stunned, they were all knocked down. Tell me, where's Rongpo? Ding Honghu leaned closer to Xiao Kegan, his tone even colder. Dream on. I will never tell you, Xiao Kegan replied fiercely. Then you shall die. Crack. The sound of bones breaking. Xiao Kegan's chest was crushed by a kick, and he died instantly. Chapter 639, Learning from others' experiences can help you polish your jade. For the next 3 hours, the dozen or so soldiers lying in the office were subjected to brutal torture. In the end, Ding Honghu failed to extract any useful information. He knew before he came that Rongpo was not at the headquarters. He led a team of 30 mutants, who were their primary target for this cleanup. The commotion in the head of the regiment's office quickly attracted a large number of soldiers. They surrounded the office building, ready to charge in at any moment. Ding Honghu walked out of the office hall as if no one else was there, stopping at the end of the steps. Soldiers, don't be afraid. We are from the military and political department, here to arrest the spies of the evil cult. Let me tell you, the reason the military region's communication system is paralyzed is because of these spies. Don't be deceived by the kind appearance of some people with ulterior motives. In reality, they are heinous demons. Ding Honghu shouted loudly, and the soldiers looked at each other in dismay. What evidence do you have? A soldier in the front row shouted. I am the evidence. Xiao Kegang attacked me when I was unprepared and was killed by me. This is clearly because he has a guilty conscience and is worried that things will be exposed, so he planned to strike first. Ding Honghu replied. Nonsense. Brothers, he killed Regiment Commander Xiao and is still trying to slander his innocence. Can you tolerate this? Someone shouted in dissatisfaction. Kill. Kill. The soldiers were all enraged. The situation on the scene was out of control, and the directly subordinate Special Forces Regiment and Ding Honghu's group immediately engaged in a brawl. Kunlun Mountains, underground base. Commander, there's a riot at the Southwest Military Region headquarters. Send the image over. Dongfang Chen frowned. This was Yan Xiangping's old nest. He didn't know what had happened after the image was connected. The scene was already very chaotic. It's the Mani sect again. Dongfang Chen saw that many people were using supernatural powers. They were undoubtedly cult members. However, he could not intervene. The headquarters underground base was shielded, indicating that there were also spies inside. Rashly attacking the base might expose himself, but he couldn't bear to watch these soldiers being killed. Where is Rongpo? Where is he? Dongfang Chen asked. Rongpo and Yan Fangfang are both at the Enning underground base. Xiaolin replied. Alright, let Old Qin handle this matter. Dongfang Chen sighed. A small lack of patience will ruin great plans. Even Rongpo and Yan Fangfang, he couldn't speak up to remind them. Now no one is absolutely reliable. Caution is the parent of safety, but in order to minimize unnecessary sacrifices as much as possible, he decided to let Old Qin come forward to make some adjustments. Old Qin, the Mani sect has now attacked the military region. It is inconvenient for me to directly intervene. I need your cooperation. Dongfang Chen went straight to the point. Okay, tell me. Old Qin immediately agreed. His feelings for the troops were absolutely deep. Hearing that the Mani sect dared to use knives against the soldiers, he stamped his feet in anger. What I mean is, the stones of other mountains can be used to polish jade. Contact Bailiji and ask him to issue an order to the Mosing Arc base, requiring them to send soldiers back to deliver messages, transferring all the people to the Mosing Arc base. The base there is under my control. No one dares to do anything there. Dongfang Chen instructed. I can directly issue orders to the Mosing Arc base. If Bailiji is to operate it, it needs to go through a council resolution. Old Qin reminded. No, this matter must still go through Bailiji. Dongfang Chen denied. Why is that? Old Qin didn't understand. If we directly transfer them, the purpose is too obvious. The Southwest Military Region headquarters just had an accident, and we withdraw. This is equivalent to telling everyone that we have grasped the situation in the military region. Dongfang Chen explained. I understand. You are still more careful. Old Qin immediately reacted. As for the reason for the transfer, just make up a reason. Dongfang Chen said. Don't worry, I know what to do. After hanging up the phone, Old Qin immediately called Bailiji. Old Qin, I finally contacted you. Where are you now? Bailiji asked eagerly. I'm in a safe place. There is something I need you to do now. Tell me. Now I need you to transfer all 80,000 soldiers from the Central Military Region to the Mosing Arc base. Old Qin said this was an idle move. The purpose was to confuse the enemy. Old Qin, this is absolutely impossible. If the Central Military Region's forces are transferred away, then Kyoto will be very dangerous. Bailiji was shocked and didn't know what Old Qin was doing at all. No, They must be transferred away. I have other arrangements for these soldiers. Carry out the order. Old Qin's tone was very firm. No, Old Qin, you can't listen to that Dongfang Chen's nonsense. The central military region's troops can't be transferred away, otherwise, the council will really be hollowed out, Biology earnestly advised. Chapter 640 Space Folding. No, Elder Qin, you can't listen to Dongfang Chen's nonsense. The troops of the central military region cannot be transferred, otherwise, the parliament will truly be rendered powerless. Bailey earnestly advised he was right. If the parliament doesn't have military force under its control, the people below won't have any respect for it. Without respect, who would listen to the parliament's commands? Is that so? What you said isn't without merit, Elder Qin said, feigning contemplation. How about this? You gather the strength of the Southeast Military Region Command and all the military sub-districts, and transfer them all to Kyoto for guard duty. After thinking for a long time, he came up with a crooked idea. Elder Qin, the troops of the Southeast Military Region were transferred away long ago, you know that. Now, even if you add up all 12 military sub-districts, are there even 20,000 people? I doubt it. This little force is definitely not enough, Bailey said with a mournful face. At this moment, he had already cursed Dongfang Chen 100 times in his heart. He believed that Dongfang Chen had tricked Elder Qin. You figure it out yourself. 3 days. I'll give you a maximum of 3 days to transfer the troops over to me, Elder Qin said firmly. I'll think of a way, Bailey reluctantly agreed. Good, then that's settled. Wait. Elder Qin, how about this? I'll transfer the troops stationed in the Southeast Military Region to you. Bailey played a little trick. Elder Qin smiled knowingly. This was the little trick you wanted? Humph. You also said that the Southeast Military Region only has less than 20,000 troops. Far from enough. Elder Qin disagreed. What if we add the Northeast Military Region? What do you think? Bailey you know the consequences of disobeying military orders. I don't need to emphasize it to you, right? Elder Qin refused. Agreeing too readily would make the motive too obvious. Yes, Bailey didn't dare to say more. After ending the call, Bailey immediately convened a meeting of parliamentarians. The commanders of the 4 military regions, Southeast, Northwest, and Northeast, were all at the Mosinark base, so they could only participate remotely via video conference. Elder Qin wants to transfer the troops from the central military region? How come we didn't know about this? Zhongzhen asked. The other commanders were unaware. Elder Qin didn't tell you. Bailey was confused. No, Zhongzhen shook his head. I don't think there's anything strange about it. If he wanted us to know, he could directly transfer troops from the Mosinark base, right? Why transfer troops from the central military region? Jens Hangping analyzed. Then don't we know now? Zhongzhen retorted. What do you know? What's the battle plan? Jens Hangping retorted. Zhongzhen was stumped in the end. The result of their analysis was, Elder Qin's purpose in transferring troops must be to complete a secret mission. In order to complete the task assigned by Elder Qin, the meeting finally decided, all the soldiers stationed in the 4 major military regions would be transferred away together at the Mosinark base. The military region headquarters would be temporarily left empty. The 80,000 soldiers of the central military region would not be adjusted in this way. The soldiers needed by Elder Qin would be gathered. And Kyoto would not have any problems, and what Elder Qin wanted was precisely this result. This was the method of the elder statesman, subtly influencing everything, leaving everyone clueless. With all the headquarters of the 4 major military regions emptied, the evil cult's plan to destroy the military bases could only be shelved. March 1, 2057 AD. A bizarre incident suddenly occurred. Commander, Gu Qingyi is gone, Xiaolin reported. Gone? What do you mean? Dongfang Chen didn't understand. What does gone mean? The base is under his complete surveillance. How could a living person just disappear? Just now, Gu Qingyi's life signs suddenly disappeared from the base. Xiaolin explained. Pull up the surveillance footage. Xiaolin quickly synchronized the footage to the big screen. In the picture, Gu Qingyi was sitting at her desk. Then, she suddenly got up and walked towards the corner of the wall. Then, she disappeared directly. Is there any special device on the wall? Dongfang Chen asked. After detection, there is no special device on the wall, Xiaolin replied. How could this be? Dongfang Chen frowned, analyzing from the scene he saw. There was only one scientific explanation for Gu Qingyi's departure: space folding. The principle of space folding is very similar to folding paper. 2 completely unrelated points on a plane can be overlapped by folding. The same is true for 3-dimensional space, but unlike space lenses, Space folding technology can only be achieved in four-dimensional space apart from space folding. He really didn't know what other method could make a person disappear inexplicably. This Mani sect is more complex than imagined. First, there was the space lens, and now there is space folding. Even during the most technologically advanced period of humanity 1 billion years ago, they had not achieved such accomplishments. How did the Mani sect master these technologies? If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 641, Could it be Zhuo Wenchen? Commander, Gu Chengyi has appeared again. Dongfang Chen was looking at the screen. Gu Chengyi walked directly out of the wall. He felt a chill. The space folding technology is really terrifying. It will directly lead to changes in the entire war situation. The current defense system is completely ineffective. This means that there is no absolutely safe place on Blue Star. Just imagine, a Tier 7 mutant could appear anywhere, which is really mind-blowing. The spatial lens is an excellent way to deal with this threat, but the problem is that Dongfang Chen has not mastered this technology. This also reflects a problem to use space folding technology. The energy required must be considerable. Where does this energy come from? Xiaolin. Check the accounts of the Huatuang Chamber of Commerce to see if there are any abnormalities. Yes, Commander, there is no problem with the accounts. But there is one thing that is not normal. What's not normal? The expenses of the Chamber of Commerce headquarters have increased several times in recent months. Sure enough, the standard currency circulating in the Chamber of Commerce is crystal cores. Abnormal expenses indicates abnormal consumption of crystal cores. Dongfang Chen guessed that Gu Chengyi might be using the energy of the crystal cores. The virus was spread by the Mani sect, so it is not surprising that they know how to use crystal cores. Track the flow of crystal cores at the Chamber of Commerce headquarters to find out where the crystal cores are going. Yes, Commander. An anomaly has occurred at the Suiyang underground base. What happened? The Queen Bee has been destroyed. Commander, the Suiyang underground base is out of control. Things happen very quickly. Before Xiaolin could finish speaking, the Suiyang underground base lost contact. The person in charge of the Suiyang underground base is Zhuo Wenchen, right? Yes. Dongfang Chen still had a deep impression of Zhuo Wenchen. This person was very humble and very dutiful. However, two things that happened later completely changed Dongfang Chen's view. One was that Gong Kaming gave him a letter of complaint before the accident, and he chose to hand over the letter. The second was that before Niu Xingwang left China, he went to Kyoto to accept an investigation. The investigator in charge of the interrogation revealed a situation. They knew the inside story of Gong Kaming's accident and knew the existence of the antigen serum. Only Gong Kaming knew about this, and he was already dead. How did the investigator know? The only possibility is that letter of complaint at that time. The only person who had contact with that letter was Zhuo Wenchen. Therefore, since the matter has been leaked, the person who leaked the news must be Zhuo Wenchen. It can be seen that Zhuo Wenchen lied at that time. He must have read the letter and reported the contents. As for why it was not revealed later, he guessed two possibilities. One is that someone deliberately withheld the news. Second, this Zhuo Wenchen may be a cult member, and this news only circulated within the cult. Now it seems that the second possibility has been verified. Zhuo Wenchen is a member of the Mani sect. In fact, it doesn't matter whether he's a cult member now. What matters is how the Queen Bee was destroyed. The Queen Bee's location is very hidden, placed in the deepest part of the base. Moreover, there is no passage to go there at all under such circumstances. It is strange that the Queen Bee can still be destroyed also. Why did they destroy the Queen Bee? The role of the Queen Bee in the base is the core control hub. All control systems, production cabins, base maintenance and repair, etc., are all executed and processed by the Queen Bee. Once the Queen Bee is destroyed, the entire base will be paralyzed. Aren't they committing suicide by doing this? Order the Queen Bees outside the base to use the resources inside the base to develop, investigate the situation inside, and find out the reason why the Queen Bee was destroyed. Yes, Commander. The order has been issued. 10 minutes later, Commander, the Suiyang settlement's investigation mission failed. Why did it fail? Dongfang Chen didn't understand what exactly happened to this Suiyang base. Why is it so difficult to deal with? Micron probe robots cannot enter, Xiaolin replied. Cannot enter? Dongfang Chen realized the seriousness of this problem. The size of the Micron robot is about the same as the diameter of a hair, and it cannot be detected by the naked eye at all. Such a small robot cannot penetrate the base, which shows how serious the problem in the Suiyang settlement is. They have the ability to strengthen the defense to such an extent. Maybe they also have technology similar to the Queen Bee. It is even possible that there is a more advanced Queen Bee. If this is the case, then this opponent must be very difficult to deal with. Could it be Zhuo Wenchen? Dongfang Chen muttered to himself. If it is Zhuo Wenchen, then this guy is hiding too deeply. Chapter 642. The spacecraft arrives on Mars. In the following 10 days, dozens more underground bases completely lost contact, with situations mirroring the Suiyang settlement. Dongfang Chen sensed that Huaguo, China, was about to change. He reported this situation to Old Qin. Old Qin only said one sentence: "What's coming will eventually come." Yes, what's coming will eventually come. If the Moni people were so easy to deal with, humanity wouldn't have been extinct 1 billion years ago. Dongfang Chen couldn't help but recall the octopus photo deep in Menka's memory. It was a silicon-based octopus. Its existence definitely had a reason. Perhaps this reason is the Moni people's true means. Today is a special day. The first fully charged Gen crystal has been sent from the central control station, transported back to Blue Star, Earth, by a miniature nuclear-powered transport spacecraft. A new era is slowly arriving. Dongfang Chen planned to use the first Gen crystal for the construction of the Mars base. Now, the loss of contact with Huaguo's bases has further strengthened his idea. Blue Star is already developing in an uncontrollable direction. The technology mastered by the Moni people is definitely not simple, and the uncertainty of whether the space station can operate safely is increasing. Therefore, building the Mars base as soon as possible and completing data migration has become a top priority. Xiaolin, has the investigation into the mutants within the base been completed? It's completed. What's the situation? Within the Huaguo range, the total number of mutants in all bases is 23.65 million. How much? Dongfang Chen was shocked. Have mutants become as common as cabbage? 23.65 million. Xiaolin confirmed again. Currently, there are less than 500 million survivors in the entire Huaguo range. That is to say, 1 in every 20 people is a mutant. This scale is quite exaggerated. What about the Bardo City base? 180,000. Xiaolin replied. His Dongfang Chen gasped. He had always thought that Bardo City was relatively safe. After all, it had been operating independently. He didn't expect that there were so many suspicious people inside. Compile a summary according to the level of abilities. Okay, the summary has been compiled according to the level of abilities. A chart appeared on the big screen. From the chart, it can be seen that in the Bardo City base, there are 2 level 7 ability users, 32 level 6 ability users, 687 level 5 ability users. That is to say, in the Bardo City base, there are more than 700 mutants who are more powerful than Mato the Great Elder. Hiding this is really strange. Why don't these powerful mutants stay in Mato's place and instead hide silently among the crowd? Xiaolin, deploy nanomachines on these people as soon as possible. Once the Queen Bee is attacked, eliminate them immediately. Okay, Commander. Due to the large number of people, it is expected to take 10 days. Yes, as soon as possible. Also, create an independent area in the base to be used as a prison. The protection ability must be strong. I plan to use it to imprison mutants. Okay, Commander. Another 20 days. 60% of the settlements nationwide have completely lost contact at the same time. The spacecraft carrying the Mars orbital satellite and the Queen Bee successfully arrived at Mars when the Gen crystal was transported back to Blue Star 10 days ago. It had already been loaded into the Queen Bee. Commander, the miniature nuclear-powered transport spacecraft has successfully arrived in Mars orbit. Should we release the satellite? Release. Okay, the satellite has left the cabin and is adjusting its attitude. The satellite has successfully entered orbit. Should we connect? Connect. Okay, connecting. Connection successful. Communication signal is normal. Please ask if you want to launch the Queen Bee. Launch. Okay, the miniature nuclear-powered transport spacecraft is about to enter the Martian atmosphere. Decelerating. 2,000 meters, 1,500 meters, 800 meters, 200 meters. Safe distance has been reached. Should we launch? Launch. Okay. Launched. The Queen Bee has landed and is starting up. The Queen Bee has started up and is establishing a connection. Connection successful. Communication signal is normal. Commander, the conditions for the construction of the Mars base have been met. Do you want to start the mission? Start. Okay, the mission has started. After receiving the instruction, The queen bee directly broke through the ground and drilled down. This queen bee is not the same concept as the queen bee on Blue Star. The Gen crystal integrated inside it is enough to support it to work independently on Mars for millions of years. In this case, there is no need to build a geothermal power room, and the construction cycle will be much shorter. The first step of the mission is to build a supercomputing center in the future. This supercomputing center will serve as the main backend, so the scale is very large. How long will it take to complete the supercomputing center? Estimated about 20 days. Okay, now another Gen crystal has been transported from the space station. We can start producing small spacecraft. Chapter 643. What do you understand? Dongfang Chen adjusted the design. The original plan was for a small manned spacecraft with a full capacity of 2 people, but after careful consideration, it was actually more convenient for a single person to pilot. The new design only has 1 driver's seat in order to increase the usage scenarios of the spacecraft. The structure still adopted a split design. The pilot needs to wear a mecha before starting the spacecraft. In this way, in space, the mecha and the base are combined into one, which is a small spacecraft. After landing, the mecha and the base are separated, so they can walk and fight on the ground. And with this design, the size can be very small. Basically, it is just a little bigger than the volume of the mecha. This is already a very small size for a spacecraft. Although it is designed as a cockpit, if it is controlled without wearing a mecha, the volume can be even smaller, but it is very inconvenient to use. When performing tasks, you often have to enter and exit the cabin, and you need to change clothes constantly. The efficiency is low, and the operation is troublesome. Dongfang Chen hates trouble the most. After adjusting the design to single-person operation, the base has more uses. In addition to flying in space, it can also be used as the main weapon of the mecha. This can enhance the combat power of the mecha. Just imagine, when the mecha is fighting with the enemy, the base can transform into a weapon in the hand, or it can fly alone and launch attacks on the enemy from other angles. The combat power will definitely be improved a lot. Of course, the split design also has a problem. Each spacecraft needs 2 vibration crystals. The mecha is equipped with 1, and the base is equipped with 1. In this way, the 2 can be controlled separately when they are separated, but Dongfang Chen doesn't care. According to the current situation, Maya and OK-Huns will definitely bring a lot of vibration crystals to themselves. 2 crystals for 1 spacecraft is nothing. After the Mars supercomputing center is completed, we can start building the light crystal panel production warehouse. He also wants to expand the scale of the near-Sun orbit charging station on a large scale and speed up the charging speed of the vibration crystals. Commander, Will of the OK-Huns requests a call. Connect. For the god of wealth, we must serve him well. Mr. Dongfang, I need your help. Mr. Will, what happened? Dongfang Chen asked. Yinba has built dozens of large bases in our country, and a large number of insects are manufactured from them, as if they are endless. We are finding it increasingly difficult to cope. Will sighed. It could be heard that he was very haggard. Then I don't know what kind of help you need me to provide. Dongfang Chen pretended not to know. Helping is okay, but there must be a fee. Pure help is absolutely impossible. We need laser weapons, Will said. Mr. Will, as far as I know, your electromagnetic guns are no less powerful than laser weapons. Dongfang Chen smiled. The power is okay, but it costs too many bullets. To be honest, the production and transportation of bullets can't keep up with the consumption at all. We have spent too much resources and energy on this, and the situation is very difficult. Will was very polite today. The original arrogant energy is gone. This is really deserved. Who told them to be so mouthy? The 2 nuclear bombs on the Moyin border had nothing to do with them. But they insisted on saying that they were dropped by themselves. Isn't this just asking for trouble for yourself? Those people in Yinba are all stubborn, and now they are just arguing with you. Want to negotiate? Impossible. Just keep rushing, even if it costs you to death. Mr. Will, I'm sorry, I may not be able to help you with this, Dongfang Chen said. Mr. Dongfang, you can't stand by and watch us die? Will was anxious. Whether or not they will stand by and watch them die depends on whether they can afford the corresponding remuneration. To be honest, we just established diplomatic relations with Yinba not long ago. It is impossible to explain to them if we provide assistance to you at this time, Dongfang Chen said. Besides, we are a neutral country and cannot arbitrarily interfere in the internal affairs of other countries. Please understand this. Then can you be an intermediary and help us talk? It would be best if the 2 countries can cease fire, Will said. That's possible. But think about it, it's impossible for me to send someone over to mediate without bringing anything, right? Besides, sending people over also costs money for food and drink, right? Dongfang Chen took the initiative to hint when he saw that the other party was not on the right track. What does food and drink mean? Will asked. It means that the warship needs to consume energy, and there is resource consumption along the way to send people over. Do you understand? Dongfang Chen was speechless. Oh, I understand. We can be responsible for transportation, Will said. What do you understand? I'm afraid your warship will be shot down directly before it even enters Yinba. At that time, even my people will be implicated. Do you think it's appropriate? Dongfang Chen retorted. Chapter 644, It's clearly going to kill him. What do you understand? Your warships probably haven't even entered India and Pakistan before being shot down directly. At that time, even my people will be implicated. Do you think that's appropriate? Dongfang Chen retorted. Will was stunned by the retort. Then, according to your meaning, you pay some fees, and I'll arrange for someone to go over and talk about it. But I can't guarantee whether the negotiation will be successful or not, Dongfang Chen said. In other words, this is clearly a blatant ripoff. If that's really the case, then I'm very grateful to you, Will said, overjoyed. The Orkhans weren't very bright and didn't understand where the pitfall was. Since you agree, then arrange a time to send the crystals over. Then, is it not clear how many crystals Mr. Dongfang needs? 1 million, perhaps. Dongfang Chen quoted an exorbitant price last time. 27 warships were sold for 2.7 million Gen crystals, and Will didn't even blink. It's clear that their Gen crystal reserves must be very large. Okay. I'll send someone to send it to you immediately. After speaking, he happily hung up the phone. These Orkhans are really stupid and rich, Menka exclaimed. The next day, the Orkhan warship arrived in Bardo City and delivered 1 million Gen crystals. Dongfang Chen arranged for K. Liquin to go to India and Pakistan again. However, this time it was completely for show. The two sides had a brief video call, but the result was an unhappy breakup. Regarding this point, Dongfang Chen said that there was nothing he could do. After all, he had done what he should have done. Will didn't complain to him either, knowing that Dongfang Chen couldn't control the war situation, so Will still requested to purchase laser weapons. Mr. Will, I'm sorry, we've already tried our best. But the India and Pakistan side is still unmoved, and there's nothing we can do, Dongfang Chen said regretfully. Mr. Dongfang, this can't be blamed on you. Since the other party is unwilling to accept peace, I still hope that you can sell us a batch of laser weapons, Will said, half pleading. I've already said that it's impossible to sell weapons to you. However, in view of our friendly relationship, I can give you a clear path. Mr. Dongfang, please speak, Will said excitedly. It is said that there is a group of people in Triassic, Myanmar and Vietnam, who specialize in reselling weapons and equipment. You can ask them. Is it reliable? Will was skeptical. I can guarantee that it is absolutely reliable. If there is a problem, I can fully compensate you, Dongfang Chen guaranteed. You will compensate. A normal person would have understood by now, but Will still didn't understand. What I mean is that it is absolutely reliable, otherwise I wouldn't be so confident. Dongfang Chen explained he couldn't explicitly guarantee it, otherwise it would be no different from selling the weapons himself. Okay, I understand. Thank you very much. The next day, April 3rd, Will sent someone to Tachalik. Tangkun had already received Dongfang Chen's notification in advance and knew what was going on. The two sides held consultations in the base. Finally, it was decided to order a handheld, second-generation laser gun for mechas due to the initial cooperation. The number of orders was relatively small, at 1,000 pieces. The delivery time is 2 days. Each laser gun costs 1,000 Gen crystals, totaling 1 million. These laser guns are all produced directly from Tachalik and have no technical difficulty. On April 5th, the Orkhun side came again. This time they brought 1 million Gen crystals. After getting the weapons, they left in a hurry. They urgently needed this batch of weapons for emergency use and had no time to delay with laser weapons. Crystal cores are needed for the Orkhuns. There are two ways to obtain crystal cores. One is to imitate a country and build a fully automated feed production line to obtain crystal cores by raising mice. The second is to purchase directly. The exchange ratio set by Dongfang Chen is 1 to 1,000. That is to say, 1 Gen crystal can be exchanged for 1,000 crystal cores. Will said that with such a cheap price, why bother with breeding? Dongfang Chen said it this way to encourage them to exchange for Gen crystals, not to mention 1,000, even 10,000 as very cost-effective. Crystal cores are consumables, which means they need to be purchased continuously. In this way, Zhen crystals can be credited continuously. On April 8, the mutant prison in Bardo City base was completed. Dongfang Chen used personnel transfers to lure 180,000 mutants from the base into the prison, and then activated the shield when everyone was still in a state of confusion. Bardo City was cleaned up on a large scale by the time these people realized they had been deceived. It was too late. This includes Sun Zhou. Sun Zhou is also a Tier 7 mutant, and he originally didn't plan to expose himself. But now it's obvious that Dongfang Chen has discovered him. Chapter 645 The Powerful Sun Zhou. Until now, Dongfang Chen hadn't paid attention to Sun Zhou. Even after being imprisoned, he hadn't been exposed. The reason was that Xiaolin provided a summary list, and he couldn't check each of the 180,000 people individually. However, Sun Zhou didn't think that way. He believed that his imprisonment meant he had already been discovered. Since he had been discovered, there was no need to pretend anymore. So, on the early morning of April 9th, he began to take action, preparing to forcibly seize control of the underground bases for the prison's protective shield. It was basically ineffective against him. Commander, someone is breaking out of the underground base in Bardo City. Sun Zhou had just prepared to escape when Xiaolin reported it. Transfer the image over. He was just about to rest, but he didn't expect this to happen. This was understandable. After all, it was impossible for 180,000 mutants to be confined in one place without anyone causing trouble. He looks very familiar, Dongfang Chen said after the image was transmitted. This person is named Sun Zhou. According to records, he used to be the head of the Xiaolin city resettlement camp, Xiaolin said. So it's him? Dongfang Chen remembered Lu Guiyan had mentioned him many times before, saying that the head of Xiaolin city wanted to move the people over at that time. His understanding of the Mani sect was still very preliminary, and he knew nothing about the Mani people. Therefore, Dongfang Chen accepted anyone who was willing to move over. In the image, Sun Zhou stood in front of the protective shield, extending his right hand under normal circumstances. Daring to do this would result in his fingers being instantly crushed, but Sun Zhou was fine. His hand easily reached out of the protective shield, and a bright blue halo appeared on his arm. This halo was left by the protective shield when it encountered an obstacle. What level of mutant is Sun Zhou? Dongfang Chen asked. Level 7, Xiaolin replied. Impressive? Dongfang Chen nodded. Protective shields are also rated depending on the energy core used. The defense level of the energy shield also varies. The main factor affecting the defense level of the shield is the energy density of the energy core. Using a level 1 crystal core as the energy core forms a protective shield with a defense level of 1. Even at level 1, it is basically difficult for current hot weapons and laser weapons to penetrate. A level 7 mutant being able to withstand the current protective shield shows that his own strength is very powerful. Sun Zhou's muscles tensed, and he screamed in pain. It seemed that wanting to get out would definitely require paying a considerable price. He was breaking through very slowly, only being able to move forward about 1 millimeter per second. This showed that in order to resist the impact of the protective shield, he needed to constantly mobilize the power within his body. Xiaolin, issue an order to the Queen Bee to attack with nanobots. Yes, Commander, strike while the iron is hot, otherwise, once he gets out, it will be much more difficult to deal with him. After receiving the order, the Queen Bee immediately mobilized the nanobots to surround him. Sun Zhou immediately felt that his feet were being gnawed on by some kind of microorganism. He roared and stomped his feet violently. A wave of air spread out, and the floor shattered directly. Again, this time he stomped on the other foot under this energy impact. The nanobots were directly blown away. Commander, the nanobot attack failed. Xiaolin reported the results. He also saw it. Sun Zhou being unscathed meant that the nanobots had no effect. A level 7 mutant. Terrifying, Dongfang Chen exclaimed. Activate the laser protection net. I want to see just how strong he is. Protection net activated. In the image, a laser grid, composed of several horizontal and vertical lasers, moved from far to near, towards Sun Zhou's direction. This laser grid was composed of several horizontal lasers and several vertical lasers, with a laser spacing of only 5 centimeters. Such a dense laser grid could instantly cut a person into pieces of corpses with side lengths of 5 centimeters. Sun Zhou was basically about to come out. Seeing the blue laser net approaching him, he immediately condensed a pale blue light shield in front of him. Then, the light shield transformed, surrounding himself in the middle. The laser net passed directly over the light shield, and it didn't penetrate it. Really fierce. Dongfang Chen couldn't help but admire. Xiaolin, connect me. I want to talk to him. Okay, the image will be synchronized soon. Please be prepared. The large screen in the distance in front of Sun Zhou quickly lit up, and an image appeared inside. It was Dongfang Chen. Sun Zhou, hello. Dongfang Chen said with a smile. Dongfang Chen. I was just about to look for you. I ask you, have I ever done anything to harm the base? Sun Zhou asked through gritted teeth. The clothes on his body had been completely shattered by the energy shield, and now he was naked, which was very inappropriate. No. Dongfang Chen shook his head. Then why did you imprison me? Sun Zhou looked very dissatisfied. Chapter 646, Unexpected Mutant. Then why did you lock me up? Sun Zhou asked. I'm just trying to ensure the safety of the base. Dongfang Chen replied. HMPH, do you think you can protect it? I think I can. An ant trying to shake a tree. I could have let you live a little longer, but you've forced yourself into a dead end. Sun Zhou said disdainfully. Then can you satisfy some of the curiosity of a dying man? Ha ha ha. Want to know what? Sun Zhou asked smugly. How did you reach Tier 7 strength? Not simple. You actually know I have Tier 7 strength? Sun Zhou was a little surprised. You flatter me. Telling you is harmless, because you can't do it. The answer is, live long enough. Sun Zhou emphasized the words live long enough. Live long enough? So you're very old? Dongfang Chen asked. Of course. Sun Zhou was extremely proud. May I ask, how old are you? Dongfang Chen asked. 2,280 years old. Sun Zhou announced his age very loudly. His Dongfang Chen was mentally prepared, but he was still shocked when he heard this age. Do you think I'll believe that? Dongfang Chen asked calmly. That's your problem. Sun Zhou said indifferently. If he really lived for such a long time as he said, then it wouldn't be impossible to advance to Tier 7. What is your purpose in coming to the base? Dongfang Chen asked. Of course, it's to find you. Find me for what? Dongfang Chen was a little puzzled. Guess. Sun Zhou smiled mysteriously, without answering. In fact, the reason why they have been lurking for so long was initially because the time was not right. But now, it's because of the crystal cores. Dongfang Chen's method of raising rats to obtain crystal cores simply opened a brand new door for them. Then are you members of the Mani sect? Dongfang Chen changed the question. What if we are? What if we aren't? All formalistic things are stumbling blocks on the road to progress, Sun Zhou said to himself. From his words, it could be heard that he might have belonged to the Mani sect before, but now he doesn't care anymore. Moreover, they seem to be pursuing something. Now that the Mani sect has been destroyed, don't you want to do something? Dongfang Chen asked playfully. Do what? Just some small fries. They're dead when they're dead, Sun Zhou said indifferently. Gu Chengyu said you were a traitor to the Mani sect. It seems there is some basis for that, Dongfang Chen said. When did Gu Chengyu say this? Obviously, she didn't say it. Dongfang Chen didn't even know if the two knew each other. He said this just to bluff him, just testing the waters. Boy, you're too tender to play this trick with me. Alright, I've told you a lot, you should be satisfied. After speaking, Sun Zhou reached out and the large screen on the wall was directly scrapped. Xiaolin, has the new protective shield been activated? It has been activated, good. Arrange a few more layers of protective shields on the outside, try to delay the time. Yes, Commander. Ha ha ha, Dongfang Chen, it's useless. When I come out, the entire base will be mine. Sun Zhou laughed wildly while stuck on the protective shield. Dongfang Chen ignored him and directly called Niu Xingwang. Brother Niu, please arrange for all the family members of the core members to be brought to Lopner? Okay, I'll do it right away. Niu Xingwang didn't ask why, and immediately executed the order. The Bado City base may not necessarily have an accident, but Dongfang Chen didn't want to take the risk. Xiaolin, take a look, who are the other two Tier 7 mutants? Dongfang Chen remembered that Xiaolin provided data that there were 3 Tier 7 mutants. Commander, the remaining 2 are Zhang Hushan and Shen Huang, Xiaolin replied. What? Dongfang Chen exclaimed. These 2 people, one is Zhang Yuink, his daughter, and the other is his wife. Zhang Hushan is only 14 years old now. Since the outbreak of the virus, she has been living in the base and has never been anywhere. Shen Huang is Zhang Yuink, his long-lost wife. Are they in prison now too? Dongfang Chen calmed down. Yes, Commander, switch the screen over. Okay, Commander. The large screen quickly switched, showing 2 different rooms. One inside is Zhang Hushan, one inside is Shen Huang. Zhang Hushan squatted in the corner, hugging her knees, looking a little lost. Shen Huang sat on the bed, quietly in a daze. It seems that both of them are harmless to humans and animals. I didn't expect that they were 2 terrifying Tier 7 mutants. Contact Brother Zhang. Okay, Commander, the signal is connecting. Hello, Commander, he is now at the Ulangam military base. Brother Zhang, I have something to tell you. Chapter 647. What is going on? Brother Zhang, Dongfang Chen began, unsure how to broach the subject. What's wrong? Why are you beating around the bush? Zhang Yuankui asked with a smile. Brother Zhang, you need to be mentally prepared, Dongfang Chen prefaced. All right. Don't worry, I have a strong ability to handle pressure. Go ahead and speak, Zhang Yuankui said, chuckling. Xiangshan, what about Xiangshan? Zhang Yuankui's heart skipped a beat, and he immediately became anxious. So much for a strong ability to handle pressure. Xiangshan is a mutated, Dongfang Chen said, trying to soften the blow. Phew, Zhang Yuankui breathed a sigh of relief. Mutated is normal. They all had received antigen serum injections, so it's not surprising at all that they became mutated. It's nothing. I was mentally prepared when the child got the antigen injection. In this day and age, living is more important than anything else, don't you think? Zhang Yuankui reassured him. But what if this mutation ability is a little too strong? Dongfang Chen asked. That's a good thing. That way, she'll have a stronger ability to protect herself. I'd be happy about that. No, you don't understand what I mean. Her ability isn't just strong, not just strong. What? Did she advance to Tier 2? Zhang Yuankui seemed to realize something. No, Dongfang Chen shook his head. It would be better to guide him to say it himself, so he can accept it more easily. Then it's, Zhang Yuankui was somewhat puzzled. Higher than Tier 2? Higher than Tier 2? That's impossible, right? No one in our team has advanced to Tier 2 yet. Zhang Yuankui was skeptical. Absolutely true, Dongfang Chen said with great certainty. Could it be Tier 3? That's a bit too exaggerated, isn't it? When did this happen? Zhang Yuankui thought Tier 3 was the limit. Guess higher, Dongfang Chen said. Forget it, I'm not guessing anymore, just tell me. Zhang Yuankui replied. That's as far as his imagination could go. He didn't dare to think any further. Dongfang Chen thought the time was right and said directly, Xiangshan is a Tier 7 mutated. Zhang Yuankui was stunned for a long time. April Fool's Day is over. What are you playing at? Zhang Yuankui didn't believe it at all. Brother Zhang, it's really true. This matter is very strange and involves a great deal. So, Dongfang Chen wanted to say that he should be mentally prepared, but after thinking about it, he didn't say it. Xiao Chen, you're joking with me, right? You know Xiangshan, she hasn't gone anywhere since entering the base. How could she be a Tier 7 mutated? There must be something wrong here, Zhang Yuankui replied. His mood was already somewhat complicated. Whether his daughter was Tier 1 or Tier 7 were two completely different concepts. If it was Tier 1, that would be normal, but Tier 7, there was a problem currently. The base couldn't even cultivate Tier 2, let alone Tier 7. That is to say, Xiangshan might have some connection with the Mani Order, but how was that possible? How could an underage girl be involved with a cult? There's a problem. That's why I am calling you in advance to inform you, Xiao Chen. Xiangshan definitely has no problems, I guarantee it with my life. How could Zhang Yuankui bear to see his daughter in danger? But at the same time, he was clear that Dongfang Chen couldn't possibly ignore this matter. A Tier 7 mutated staying in the base was simply too risky. Brother Zhang, I don't need your guarantee. I can delegate this matter to you. You handle it yourself, Dongfang Chen replied. All right. Thank you. Zhang Yuankui didn't say anything more. There's one more thing I need to tell you, Dongfang Chen said. Tell me. Xiangshan's matter was already a big deal. He didn't think there could be anything more serious than that. Your lover is also a mutated. It's not also Tier 7, is it? Zhang Yuankui guessed if it wasn't Tier 7, Dongfang Chen wouldn't be so solemn. That's right, Dongfang Chen admitted. Really? What exactly is going on? Zhang Yuankui was on the verge of collapse. It felt like the whole sky was falling at this moment. If it was finally discovered that they were really cult members, how would this end? He really didn't know if he would have the courage to put family loyalty aside at that time. Brother Zhang, you need to stabilize your emotions first. I need you to return to Bardo City base now to figure out their true identities. At the same time, also find out why they are Tier 7 mutated, Dongfang Chen comforted. Alright. I'll leave right away. Zhang Yuankui calmed down. After all, he was a man who had come from the battlefield, and his willpower was much stronger than the average person. April 9th, 12 o'clock noon. Zhang Yuankui arrived in Bardo City. Sun Zhou was still trapped outside the prison, struggling in front of him. There seemed to be countless barriers. Breaking through one, and there was another. Even if it was Tier 7, continuously overcoming so many barriers, he gradually became physically exhausted. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. we warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 648 I Am a Great Eater. After entering the base, Zhang Yuanqi headed straight for the prison where the mutants were held. A prison that can hold 180,000 people is very large. The conditions inside are actually quite good, similar to the living area. It's just that the people locked up here cannot move freely among these mutants. There are indeed some members of the Mani sect, but not many. Most low-level mutants don't even know they are mutants, let alone being members of some cult. They haven't participated at all. They are still completely clueless as to why they are being locked up. In terms of prison setup, first-level mutants are in rooms of 8, they can move around in a small area and have a certain degree of autonomy. Second-level mutants are in rooms of 2, can move around in a small area, but have no autonomy. Third level and above are in single rooms and are not allowed to leave the room. Protective shields are set up inside the rooms, not allowing anyone to get close to the boundaries. Zhang Yuanqi first went straight to his daughter Zhang Weishan's room. This is an independent area, the same as Sun Zhou's side. Ding. Verification passed. Entry allowed. The thick door lit up green and slid open to both sides. Zhang Yuanqi trembled as he slowly stepped in. 14-year-old Zhang Weishan was sitting in the corner, and when she saw the door open, she turned her head to look. Dad. Zhang Weishan's eyes lit up, and she stood up and ran towards Zhang Yuanqi. The father and daughter hugged each other. Zhang Yuanqi patted her back with trembling hands. Dongfang Chen stared unblinkingly at the scene on the screen. He was observing carefully at this time. Any detail could be the key to unlocking the mystery. Woo woo woo. Dad, I don't know why they locked me up. I'm so scared. Can you take me out? Zhang Weishan cried, tears streaming down her face. Shan, don't be afraid. Come sit down. Dad has something to ask you. Zhang Yuanqi led her to the bedside to sit down. Dad, what do you want to ask? Zhang Weishan asked, wiping away her tears. I'm asking you, do you feel anything unusual about your body? Zhang Yuanqi asked, unusual? No. Zhang Weishan shook her head. Then have you felt a kind of energy surging within you? Zhang Yuanqi pondered for a moment and asked from a different angle, a feeling of energy surging? No. Zhang Weishan still shook her head. Well, think hard. Is there anything you can do that others can't? Zhang Yuanqi carefully guided her. What I can do that others can't? Zhang Weishan scratched her head. Yes, think back carefully. Anything will do. Zhang Yuanqi looked at her expectantly, hoping she could say something useful. Does eating a lot count? Zhang Weishan asked. Shan, this matter is very important. It's not a joke. Zhang Yuanqi put on a very serious expression with a cold face. Xiaolin, adjust Zhang Weishan's previous diet records. Dongfang Chen didn't want to let go of any detail. Okay, Commander. Do you need the diet records to be summarized? Xiaolin asked. Summarized by quantity? Okay, Commander. It has been summarized according to calorie intake. After Xiaolin finished speaking, a visual chart appeared on the screen. She's telling the truth. When Dongfang Chen saw the chart, he knew how much this little girl could eat. The daily calorie intake is 10 times that of others. Dad, really? I can eat super a lot. Zhang Weishan said very affirmatively. Dongfang Chen sent him a message. The message is true. Shan's daily food intake is 10 times that of an adult. She may not be clear about the mutant thing. You can ask from the perspective of the Mani sect. Zhang Yuanqi was shocked when he saw the message. In his impression, his daughter's appetite was not abnormal before the virus outbreak. However, since Dongfang Chen said so, there must be a basis, so he changed his angle. Shan, let me ask you. Have you ever seen people wearing black robes or red robes before? They often wear masks and don't show their true faces. Are you talking about in reality or on TV? Zhang Weishan asked. In reality, no. I haven't seen them. Who would wear such strange clothes in reality? Zhang Weishan shook her head. Then have you seen them on TV? Zhang Yuanqi also began to pay attention to every detail. Yes. There are many on TV. Don't villains often dress like this? Zhang Weishan nodded. Well, that was a wasted question. Xiao Chen, could it be a mistake? Zhang Yuanqi asked through the digital eye. Absolutely not wrong. I have reconfirmed it again. There is a 7th-level crystal nucleus in her body. Dongfang Chen replied. Zhang Yuanqi was greatly startled when he saw this. In his impression, only zombies have crystal nuclei. Xiao Chen, how is this possible? How can there be a crystal nucleus in a person's body? Zhang Yuanqi asked. Chapter 649, cannot be talked to outsiders. Xiao Chen, how is this possible? How can there be crystal cores inside a person's body? Zhang Yuankui asked. I haven't announced this matter to the public, so you don't know. Many high-level mutants have crystal cores in their bodies. I'm not very clear about how they are produced yet, Dongfang Chen replied. Okay, so what do we do now? I see that Xianchen is completely unaware, so we probably won't be able to get anything out of her. How about this? You go see your lover first and see if you can find a breakthrough there. Okay, Zhang Yuankui looked at his daughter and said, Xianchen, stay here for a while. Dad has some things to take care of, and I'll come pick you up when I'm done. Dad, will something happen to me? Zhang Wei Xianchen was a little scared. Don't worry, with Dad and Uncle Dongfang here, nothing will happen to you. Zhang Yuankui comforted her. Okay then, Zhang Wei Xianchen nodded. Okay, don't feel pressured, everything will be alright. Zhang Yuankui stood up, preparing to leave. Dad, can you tell Uncle Dongfang to bring me more food? I'm so hungry, Zhang Wei Xianchen quickly said. Don't worry, I'll have someone send you more food, Zhang Yuankui said with a smile. After speaking, he turned and left. Xiaolin, arrange for more food to be sent to Zhang Wei Xianchen's room. There's no limit to the amount, just keep sending it as long as she can eat it. Yes, Commander. Oh, right, also send over some crystal cores and record her reaction when she sees them. Yes, Commander. After Zhang Yuankui left, he took the horizontal elevator to Shen Wei Ying's room. Unlike seeing Zhang Wei Xianchen, he was a little nervous now. He hadn't seen his lover for over a decade, and there were too many variables in between. If his lover was really a mutant, was it possible that she was a cult member? With her such powerful strength, it was impossible that she didn't have the chance to come back and see her daughter also. She disappeared for so many years. Would her sudden appearance be for other purposes? It was really hard to say. Was the current Shen Wei Ying still the Shen Wei Ying from over a decade ago? Who knew? Ding. Verification passed. Access granted. Zhang Yuankui walked in. Shen Wei Ying turned her head to look. Their eyes met. Yuankui. Shen Wei Ying stood up, feeling a sense of guilt. Dongfang Chen knew there was something going on when he saw this expression. Wei Ying, do you know why you're being held here? Zhang Yuankui got straight to the point. He had already prepared for the worst, including the possibility that Shen Wei Ying might attack and kill him directly here. One was rank 1, the other was rank 7. The difference in their strength was worlds apart. If Shen Wei Ying had the intention to kill, he wouldn't have any chance to resist. Shen Wei Ying didn't answer, but nodded silently. Tell me, what exactly is going on? Zhang Yuankui tried to control his emotions. Actually, I didn't tell you the truth. I'm not a material science expert, but a biology expert, Shen Wei Ying said. Zhang Yuankui was stunned. What was that supposed to mean? Whether it was material science or biology, was there any difference? In his opinion, they were all the same. Xiaolin, is there any information about this Shen Wei Ying in the previously backed up military and political department database? Dongfang Chen asked. There is no matching information. What about the security department? Also none. Dongfang Chen didn't know that Shen Wei Ying also had another name, Lan Jinghong. For Zhang Yuankui, what kind of expert was the same? Anyway, it was just an expert, but for Dongfang Chen, it was completely different. Deliberately concealing her identity as a biologist and saying that she was a material scientist, there must be something going on here. Thinking of this, Dongfang Chen immediately sent a message. Ask her why she concealed her identity as a biologist. After Zhang Yuankui saw the message, he realized that this might be a breakthrough, so he asked, then why didn't you just tell me that you were a biologist, but insisted on lying and saying that you were a material scientist? This is a sensitive period, and I haven't seen you for many years. The chief's idea was that if I said it directly, it might bring unnecessary trouble, Shen Wei Ying explained. What trouble would there be? Zhang Yuankui couldn't figure out the situation. It's this trouble. My previous work was confidential and cannot be told to outsiders, Shen Wei Ying replied. Can't you say it now either? No. Shen Wei Ying shook her head. Zhang Yuankui didn't know what to say. He also understood the confidentiality regulations. Since his wife couldn't say it, he couldn't force her. Dongfang Chen immediately sent a message. Ask her if she has heard of the Shenggong Institute. Dongfang Chen thought of something. People from the military and political department once said that Niu Xingwang's son used to work at the Shenggong Institute, which is the China Industrial Research Institute. After scanning and analyzing his body, it was found that he may have participated in the cyborg experiment. He vaguely felt that there might be some kind of connection here. Chapter 650. The military and political department has been decrypted. Dongfang Chen immediately sent a message. Ask her if she has ever heard of the Shandong Institute. After receiving the message, Zhang Yuanke asked, have you ever heard of the Shandong Institute? You know. Shen Huang looked both nervous and surprised as soon as Dongfang Chen saw her reaction. He knew there was a chance, and immediately sent a message, ask her to talk about the Shandong Institute, focusing on the situation regarding human experiments. It seems you've heard of it. Can you talk about it? Zhang Yuanke asked. Yuanke, don't ask. These are all things of the past. Shen Huang shook her head. Huang, can't you tell the truth even now? Don't you know why you were locked up? Zhang Yuanke's emotions were a little agitated, especially since Dongfang Chen's words mentioned human experiments, which made him instantly feel that this Shandong Institute must have many shady secrets. Yuanke, don't ask. Please, don't ask. Shen Huang shook her head while crying, not wanting to talk about this issue anymore. Don't you care about yourself, or me? Or Shanshan? Zhang Yuanke did not stop asking because she was crying. The matter involved here is too big, and he can't let his emotions control him. Besides, even if he was soft-hearted and didn't push her, Dongfang Chen wouldn't be soft-hearted. There are still 3 million people surviving in the base, which is no small matter. What happened to Shanshan? Shen Huang was stunned and asked nervously. Shanshan has also been locked up, Zhang Yuanke said helplessly. Why? Shanshan has been fine with you all along. Why would she be locked up? Shen Huang didn't understand. They couldn't communicate with each other, nor could they leave the room, so Shen Huang didn't know that her daughter had also been locked up. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been sitting quietly by the bed for so long. How would I know? Isn't that why I'm asking you? Now, you're the only one who can save Shanshan. If you don't speak up, I'm afraid everyone will have to be buried with you. Zhang Yuanke broke away from her and roared angrily. He had never spoken to her so loudly before. Shen Huang was making a difficult decision. Dongfang Chen sent another message. Tell her that the Zhenzhengxi has declassified the Shandong Institute's matter. Her speaking out will not violate the confidentiality agreement. After receiving the message, Zhang Yuanke took a deep breath. The Zhenzhengxi has declassified the Shandong Institute's matter. Speaking out now will not violate the confidentiality principle, Zhang Yuanke said. Declassified? No, impossible. Don't try to trick me. They would never declassify such a thing. Shen Huang shook her head, not believing it at all. They are conducting human experiments, right? Zhang Yuanke asked. Really declassified? Shen Huang was a little uncertain when she heard the words human experiments. Otherwise? How could a commoner like me know these things? Zhang Yuanke asked back. How do you know? Shen Huang asked. Of course, someone from the Zhenzhengxi told me themselves. Zhang Yuanke replied. He remembered that someone from the Zhenzhengxi had caused trouble at the Huituang Chamber of Commerce before, demanding the chamber's shares in control, and he had personally maintained order. The arrogant man leading the group seemed to have said that he was from the Shandong Institute at that time. He didn't know what kind of unit it was and didn't pay attention to it. But Niu Xingwang immediately met with him after hearing about it later. A group of them went to Kyoto once after that. Niu Xingwang brought his son back. It was said that his son was seriously injured and barely alive. After that, the Zhenzhengxi disappeared, and the matter was dropped. How is that possible? Why would they tell you such a thing? Shen Huang still didn't quite believe it. Huang, I can tell that it's not that others won't let you speak, it's that you don't want to speak, right? Zhang Yuanke stopped there mainly because he didn't know much either, and it would be easy to reveal his ignorance if he said more. Yuanke, you don't care about Shanshan either, right? Zhang Yuanke pressed on step by step. What exactly are you hiding? What exactly are you afraid of? What exactly? All right. I'll talk. Woo woo woo. Shen Huang completely broke down. Huff. Zhang Yuanke took a deep breath. As long as she opened her mouth, this family would be saved by more than half. Okay, you talk, I'm listening. Zhang Yuanke lowered his tone. The Shandong Institute was not destroyed by accident. Shen Huang said she thought she had revealed a big secret, and Zhang Yuanke would definitely understand, but Zhang Yuanke looked dazed, not getting it at all. Dongfang Chen quickly sent a message. The Shandong Institute had an accident later, and the official response was an accident. After seeing the message sent by Dongfang Chen, he immediately understood this key point. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.